John Saunders. See you again tomorrow.
Central Michigan arriving in DeKalb, Illinois, hoping to grab a piece of first place in the MAC West. Last night, Ball State winning to move to 6-0 in conference. Central Michigan would love to join them in the top spot. It's the Chippewas in Northern Illinois next. Welcome to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. We've made it to the middle of November, and absolutely nothing has been decided in the Mid-American Conference. Tonight, a key MAC West battle. It's midweek football, Central Michigan and Northern Illinois. Well, there's still much to be decided in the MAC. Yesterday, another impressive win for Ball State. They moved to 10-0 on the year. They are 6-0 in the MAC West. But Central Michigan, they are hot in pursuit. A win tonight, and the Chippewas would be tied with Ball State heading into next week's Battle Royale in Mount Pleasant. Thrilled to have you along for the ride on this Wednesday evening with my partner Sean King. I'm Eric Collins. And folks, when people talk about the MAC this year, for the most part, they're talking about Ball State, and deservedly so. Ball State still perfect on the year. They are ranked 14th in the BCS standings. But don't forget about Central Michigan. Central Michigan, they still control their own destiny if they want to win their third consecutive MAC title.
You're right. Ball State gets all the headlines, but Central Michigan is a defending MAC champion, and you're still the champion until someone beats you. However, this could be a trap game. Northern Illinois defeated handily last week by Ball State 45-14, but they're a better ball club than that, so Central Michigan better be ready.
Now, Central Michigan, they think that their top quarterback is ready. Dan Lefevre didn't play 10 days ago in Central Michigan's win over Indiana, but it looks like he's healthy enough to play tonight.
Yeah, I talked to head coach Butch Jones before the game. He said Dan's about 80%, but he's going to play. But he's a superstar. 06 freshman of the year in the MAC conference, 07 offensive player of the year. He's a guy that makes this offense go, so they need him tonight.
Well, they need him to be healthy because he's going to be chased all evening long by everything defensive end for Northern Illinois, Larry English. He's a stud.
Larry English, quick, agile, fast, programmed for destruction. He causes havoc in opposing offense's backfield. Central Michigan left tackle Andrew Hartline said going against Larry English is like being in a street fight with Jet Li. So they better be ready and find a way to keep him off of Dan Lefevre.
Larry English hoping to be in that backfield of Central Michigan all evening long. Central Michigan trying to win and hold serve, trying to join Ball State atop the MAC West. We'll have the kickoff in a moment.
Do you trust your coworkers? Yes, you do, so just let go. Okay, what did we learn there? Is there such a thing as personal space? No, there isn't, because we are all molecules in the same organism.
American Airlines.
Yeah, I need an earlier flight out of Chicago. I feel like some of you don't respect me.
But because,
Because of the hat. Just get me on the next flight out. Hey, Rachel.
Hi.
We know why you fly.
Just made it.
We're American Airlines.
College is the best time of your life? Yeah, right. I have my final exam in biology tomorrow, and I still have no clue.
Biology? No problem. Come here and I'll teach you that.
Oh, no, stop. The test tomorrow is all about the theory of biochemistry, not about its practice. I can't cover both in one night.
Sure you can. Here, have a Red Bull. It vitalizes body and mind.
Then what?
Then we start with practice and work our way back to theory.
Red Bull gives you wings.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by American Airlines. We know why you fly. We're American Airlines.
No, I'm out here repping red and black. That's the NIU, ESPN2. You know what it do, 2 dog. Then we can get it out here. We set a ball. Ain't no ball hogs. Let's do it, man. We gon' fill the stands. Whatever fans is here, yo, we gon' pass out them fans because we making it hot. And we ain't gon' never stop until we reach that top. And that's what it do, man. I'm out.
Well, it appears as if Northern Illinois is ready to play some football. At least Nathan Palmer, one of their wide receivers, is. We're going to have football here on a Wednesday evening. Central Michigan trying to remain perfect in MAC West play, taking on Northern Illinois. And there is second-year head coach for Central Michigan, Butch Jones. He has lost just one MAC game in his watch. So far this year, a perfect 5-0. But this is where the tough part of the schedule comes. Not only today's game, but 7 days from now in Mount Pleasant, they have a date with destiny against Ball State. And there's first-year head coach Jerry Kill. He is familiar with the state of Illinois, longtime head man just down the road in Carbondale, actually a couple hundred miles down the road at Southern Illinois. Sean, this is football weather.
Yeah, it is. It looks like it's freestyle weather, too. I'm impressed. The young man was nice. Can you flow, Eric? That's called. It's called flowing.
Not as well as Nathan Palmer. I guess he goes by Napalm when he's doing his freestyle.
Is that his stage name?
Yeah, Nathan Palmer goes by Napalm when he's freestyling. This may be a factor. It says 46 degrees here at kickoff. That's a little bit surprising. There is a bit of a bite to the air.
Yeah, I definitely went out and purchased a coat today. You know, I'm from Florida. I don't have a lot of things that fit this weather. It's kind of nippy.
Northern Illinois, they won the toss and they elected to receive the football. And we are underway. Kick will make it down to the 1-yard line. This is Ricky Kreider on the return. And Kreider in space barrels ahead out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Let's get us started. Let's take a look at our impact players, brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky.
Redshirt freshman Chandler Harris is getting better every week. Coach Jerry Kill's excited about his development. This is a run-based offense. Miko Brown is the engine that makes this Northern Illinois attack go. Like I said, quick, agile, and programmed for destruction. Everything Larry English in the mold of a Robert Mathis to White Freeney. Quick, undersized, but gets to the quarterback.
Larry English last year was the MAC Player of the Year, both offense and defense. He was the top dog coming on a 2-win team last year for the Huskies. First play from scrimmage. It's a handoff. Miko Brown. And the true freshman is brought down after a pickup of 3 by Tim Brazil. Take a look at the top of your screen as the starting lineups for both teams will scroll by. Just saw Miko Brown comes here to DeKalb, Illinois, all the way from Moss Point, Mississippi.
Freshman running back has done an outstanding job this year of being effective from that backfield. Northern Illinois likes to control the clock. They want to own the time possession. But one of the ways to do that is have an outstanding running back. He's done a great job as a freshman.
Out of the shotgun, Chandler Harnish, redshirt freshman. And a design quarterback run. Harnish makes the first man miss and is brought down after a pick of 2, maybe 3. That'll bring up 3rd down and short.
And one of the things that you see more and more now with this spread attack is using your quarterback as a weapon in the running game. And he's a good athlete. Coach Kill feels comfortable and allow him to get downfield using his feet and his arm. Adds an added dimension to your offense.
Harnish from Bluffton, Indiana, about 20 miles south of Fort Wayne. He is the man that Jerry Kill has to have a lot of trust in. The man that they thought was going to be the starting quarterback this year, 5th-year senior Dan Nicholson, has been banged up all season long. Harnish, his first throw is complete, close to 1st down yards. Britt Davis, the senior, with the grab. Nick Ballore on the tackle. They needed 4. I think they only got 3.
And that's the wide receiver. Anytime wide receiver on 3rd down has a hook route, a route where he's going to curl up, it's his responsibility to make sure he gets past the 1st down yardage marker. And he didn't do it that time, so they're a little short, going to have to be forced to punt.
So it'll be a 3 and out for Northern Illinois as the punt team comes on. Andy Dittbenner is the punter for Northern Illinois, senior, averaging close to 40 yards per punt. And this is a danger situation right now. The best punt returner in the country, Antonio Brown, is back deep for Central Michigan, but hold the phone as flags down.
infraction. Number 55, offense, penalized 5 yards, remains 4th down.
That's William Algie, who is today's referee, and that'll move Jerry Killsbunch back 5 yards.
And this is dangerous because Central Michigan was in a punt safe. They had their defense on the field. Now they have a return set up for a guy that's leading the country in punt return yardage, average at 20 yards in average punt return.
Antonio Brown, just a sophomore. He is electric. This is going to be a returnable kick. Fields it on the fly at the 25, and he goes down at about the 37. A return of 11 of a 39-yard punt. Let's take a look at tonight's impact players for Central Michigan. Jack Link's beef jerky.
All everything quarterback, a little banged up, but he's going to go tonight. When he's healthy, this offense is unbelievable. Antonio Brown, been talking about him, leads the country with a 20-yard average. Also is a 5'2" player, scoring a lot of ways for this offense. And Brian Anderson, the all-time lead reception leader for this Central Michigan team. Outstanding 2 targets on offense for quarterback Dan Lefevre.
Central Michigan, they will be in a no-huddle offense all day long. Lefevre in the shotgun. Hands it off on first down. Ontario Sneed with a pickup of 3 on first down. As we take a look at Central Michigan's starting lineup, that's on the top of your screen. You see Dan Lefevre getting the start. He is a junior from just down the road. He's from Downers Grove, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. And what a career he has had thus far in his first 3 seasons for Central Michigan. One of the best run-pass threats in the country. His first run of the day, and he's going to be close to the first down marker. Looks about a yard short. It'll bring up 3rd down and 1, a pickup of 6.
And you talk about having a quarterback that adds a dimension to your offense. He actually leads this Central Michigan team with 434 yards rushing this year. So when he's back there, he's a dual threat, both dangerous throwing the football and running the football. It's difficult for a defense to be in the correct defense when the quarterback can present that type of problem.
Three receivers bunched to the left. Designed run for the quarterback, Lefevre. He's got the first down and more as he crosses the 50.
And I like the creativity by Coach Butch Jones from Central Michigan right there. What he did is he flooded one side of the field, which allows your quarterback now to go against only one defender. He makes that defender miss, is able to pick up the first down. I talked to Coach Jones before the game, and he felt it was really important that Dan Lefevre be able to provide that option in the rushing attack as their quarterback.
Lefevre's throw is complete out in the flat. Antonio Brown gets his hands on the football and gets good positive yards on first down. Sean, I want to ask you, you're a former quarterback. You were watching Lefevre closely as he warmed up. He's been dealing with a couple of bad ankles for the last couple of weeks. How did he look to you?
Well, he looked a little ginger in pregame warm-ups, but right now he seems fine. Maybe he wasn't as injured as he was showing. Maybe just getting used to the weather.
Are you saying he was playing possum?
Maybe.
Lefevre swarmed and brought down. A loss of a couple. The defense was true. Brandon Bice, first man to wrap his arms around him, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
But you know, those ankle injuries are something they can be difficult to heal at times. A lot of times it takes your explosion away, your ability to change direction. So that's something that maybe we'll watch as the game goes on.
So what had been a 2nd and 3 expands to a 3rd and 5. Complete, another first down for Central Michigan. Antonio Brown, his 2nd grab of the night. And Lefevre has had a tough go-around here in his junior season. We talked about both ankles having problems. Against Temple, hurt his left ankle. A couple of weeks later against Toledo, hurt his right ankle.
And so much of playing quarterback is from the waist down. When I watch a young quarterback, when I watch a quarterback, I always tell how they played without even looking at any of the passes. If I can just watch his feet, is he set, is he balanced, and I can pretty much tell what kind of football game he has.
On first down, pass is complete. Enough for a first down.
You know, know, so far so good. You know, I've been impressed so far by Dan Lefever's ability to manipulate this offense. He's utilized his ability to run on this opening drive. He's gotten the ball to 3 different receivers, and he's been accurate. I want to see accuracy in this offense, the ability to get the wide receiver the football where he can catch it and run with it after he catches it.
There's Jeremy Wilson with the grab, his first catch of the season. Passes through the wickets of Antonio Brown, almost an interception for Northern Illinois. It'll bring up second down.
Man, in football terms, you call that a hot one. You know, those receivers are coming in on that screen pass. You want to give them something catchable. Dan's excited, put out a little hard. I'm sure Antonio Brown's telling him, take a little bit off, big guy.
Brown moves into the backfield behind Lefever. Lefever gets it to the first man through, Ontario Sneed, who has a solid gain on second down, a pickup of 6. It'll bring up third down and 4. Sean, we're watching this offense for Central Michigan. They're a no-huddle offense, but they're not necessarily the quickest of teams getting their plays off.
Well, they like to get in a formation and make adjustments from the sideline based on what the defense is doing. Outstanding third down football team, though, converting 62% of their third downs this season.
This is the 10th play of this opening drive for Central Michigan. Lefever, pass out in the flat, it's caught, and it's not going to be enough for a first down. They got it to the senior, Joe Bachheim, and Bachheim is pushed out of bounds, bringing up a fourth down and short. No decision at all for Butch Jones. He's going to send the field goal unit on.
If you're a Central Michigan fan, that's an outstanding first drive. You love to score a touchdown, but on the road in a big conference game, you take a 10-play drive, take it down the field, and convert it into points. That's always a good thing. And that's assuming that they make the field goal. Don't want to jump the gun.
A 33-yard attempt for junior Andrew Aguiala. No worries. First 3 points of the game go to the Chippewas. An 11-play drive results in 3 points for Butch Jones's team. They lead 3-0. We'll be back. Northern Illinois will get their crack at the defense of Central Michigan in a moment.
Introducing Taco Bell's new 89-cent Volcano Taco. With spicy lava sauce, it could be the spiciest taco ever.
Who ate my Volcano Taco? Don't look at me.
Why pay more for heat when you can think outside the bun?
Michelin makes some of the most fuel-efficient tires on the road, so you can take the pump down. Find out how much you can save at MichelinMan.com. Michelin, a better way forward.
You may not realize it, but there's a source of renewable energy right in your neighborhood, and you're helping to power it. Today, Waste Management is using the resources at our disposal to create energy from waste. Enough green energy to power over 1 million homes. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
For every person, there's a Dell powered by Intel processors. And this holiday season, every day there will be a great deal on Dell.com/everyday. Check it out and find a deal that's right for you. Dell, yours is here.
Monday, the day you're once again reminded the customer is always right.
I didn't use it.
Despite all evidence to the contrary.
Excuse me, where's aisle 8?
It means another 5 days of Murphy being right about things going wrong. But with Monday comes Monday Night Football on ESPN, where Brady Quinn and the Browns take on Trent Edwards and the Bills. So suck it up, sonny boy. On Monday nights, you're the only customer we care about.
Welcome back, everyone, to DeKalb, Illinois. We're about 50 miles west of Chicago. Central Michigan has drawn first blood over Northern Illinois. They lead 3-0 about halfway home here in quarter number 1. Temperatures in the mid-40s. I guess we're fairly lucky to be in this part of Illinois at this part of November and have temperatures in the 40s.
It's nippy. For a Florida guy like myself, it's nippy.
It feels colder than 46, if you ask me.
And I was fortunate. I played in a dome and in sunny locations my whole career.
Aguila kicks it off for a second time. Another returnable kick. Kreider, his second return. And Kreider dives down at the 25-yard line. Well, there is some history of bad weather here at Husky Stadium. This is a little bit over 2 years ago, November 7th, 2006. Where were you? It was the Fog Bowl here at Husky Stadium. The Toledo Rockets taking on Northern Illinois. That's Garrett Wolf, now the Chicago Bears, running into that fog. Game was eventually won by Toledo. For many years, Toledo just owned Northern Illinois, but that's the infamous Fog Bowl here in DeKalb.
Now, I've been fortunate, never had to play in those conditions. So, I'm sure as a quarterback, it's tough if you can't see your receivers with complete passes.
I'd imagine. Harnish wants to throw on first down. It's complete. Landon Cox with the grab. And Cox, a gain of 8 on first down.
And Northern Illinois uses this in their passing game. They like to move the pocket. They like to get the young quarterback, Chandler Harnish, out on the edges where they feel like he makes better decisions right now. You know, Coach Kill said in the meeting that he's great on 7-on-7. He said he wants him to get better in 11-on-11 situations where the bullets are live and guys are actually trying to hit you. So he hasn't made consistent decisions, but he's getting better each week. And as a young quarterback, that's what you want. You want to see improvement from him week in and week out.
Cox the man in motion, and they run the football straight up the gut. It's Chad Spann, sophomore from Indianapolis. And Spann's going to have enough for a first down. Yeah, finishing off that thought with Chandler Harnish, we talked to the coaching staff, and he's been riding that roller coaster. Began the season with his hair on fire, but recent weeks stubbing his toe every once in a while.
He has. They think that the injury set him back. He was injured early this season, had to miss some time, and they feel like he got a little rusty. You know, he's working his way back into a rhythm, and they feel like he's getting better. But Coach Jerry Kill, he's patient with the young man. He feels like he's got a lot of athletic gifts, and he expects big things from him before he leaves Northern Illinois.
4 receivers in the game on first down. Harnish design roll out to the left. Nothing doing at all. He just gets rid of it and saves the loss.
And when a young quarterback makes those kind of decisions, to me that shows a quarterback who's starting to learn how to manage the football game. People talk about managing the football game. Well, right here, his coach calls a sprint out to the left. No one's open, but instead of losing 6 yards and run out of bounds, simply flips the ball out of bounds. Now you go back 2nd and 10. Keep your team in a manageable situation come second down. A lot of young quarterbacks right there will just run out of bounds with the football and lose the 5 or 6 yards on the carry.
It's incomplete. I'm not sure who that pass was to. Greg Turner knocked it down. I think it may have been intended for number 11, Willie Clark.
And this is an outstanding job right there by Central Michigan of understanding the route package. That's what you call being in a receiver's hip pocket. Quarterback doesn't have a lot of room for error right there when the defender's that close.
Did someone run a wrong route? There are 2 guys right in the line of that ball coming out.
Well, sometimes in your 3-step passing game, your spacing can be off. Maybe Willie Clark should have been a little bit wider to allow the underneath receiver room to move.
Harnish to throw on 3rd down at 10. Got a lot of room if he wants to try it. And Harnish, where are they going to spot it? Looks like he's a little bit short. Nick Ballore, the middle linebacker, came up to greet him.
And that was an excellent job of coverage in the secondary for Central Michigan. He had an opportunity, he had time in the pocket, did a good job of going outside the pocket, had no one open, and it's going to be close, but looks like he's a little short, maybe a yard or 2 short of the first down. You have to give Central Michigan credit right there, too. As a quarterback on 3rd down, you drop back. It's so frustrating when everyone's covered. You know, you really want to make a play for your offense. Sometimes it's just not available.
Once again, Northern Illinois 1 yard short of a first down. And that ball may have hit someone in the back. That's a live football, and Northern Illinois, they say they have possession. Do they?
I think it actually hit a Northern Illinois player.
I thought it might have hit a Central Michigan player. If it hit a Central Michigan player and Northern Illinois jumped on the football, it's Northern Illinois football.
Illegally touched by the kicking team. First down, the 35-yard line.
Now there you have it. I guess it was first touched by someone on Northern Illinois, so it will be Central Michigan's football. And that looks like a good call. It did indeed hit a Husky on the back.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
Trailer's awesome.
Jack Link's Jerky. Feed your wild side.
Okay, Tommy. Beep. Hey, Nancy's phone. Nancy doesn't have AT&T, so no bars here. Yeah, we're not getting the call about how Freddy the fun-loving dinosaur's costume was damaged. Apparently, they're sending T-Rex. Yeah, we missed that call. Yay, memories.
For the best coverage, switch to AT&T. More bars in more places. Get an exclusive quick messaging phone for $79.99 after mail-in rebate.
The undefeated Crimson Tide look to avoid an upset and avenge back-to-back losses to Mississippi State in their quest for a national championship. ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. Mississippi State, Alabama, Saturday at 7:45 Eastern. College football lives here.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side.
Central Michigan will have the football for their second time. First time they had it. Settling for a 33-yard field goal. We'll take you back to that last punt after this play. Make sure that everyone's squared away with what we just saw. Dan Lefevre in that shotgun formation where he'll be all evening long. Hands the football off left side. Our first flag of the game comes down as Brian Schroeder goes down. Pickup of 1. Chase Carter coming on in run support from his quarterback position. But let's sort this one out.
Holding. Offense, number 66. That lies 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, first down.
They call it on Jeff Maddox. All right, Sean, what happened on that punt?
Well, they punt the football, but it actually touches Northern Illinois player Alex Kuba right there. And once it does that, that's a dead football. And I actually liked what Northern Illinois was trying to do, was just hit the wrong guy. You know, and I think it speaks about how much respect they have for Central Michigan punt returner Antonio Brown.
Lefevre wants to throw. Deep ball well past the intended target, Keto Pogba. I was actually curious to see that. Wanted to know what kind of arm Lefevre had.
And Keto Pogba right here, what he has to know is he has to run through this football. If you see that little hesitation right there, that's the difference between a touchdown and an overthrown pass. You know, those corners from Northern Illinois, they're starting to peek in the backfield a little bit and look at those flat routes. And that's going to be something that can present itself as an option for this offense later on in the game.
Second down and 20. Lefevre showing those great feet, gets out across the 40. A pickup of 16 on 2nd and 20.
And so far, it looks like those ankles are okay. He's done a good job of getting past that first level of Northern Illinois defenders and even made a little juke move on the safety once he got into the secondary. And he's such an added dimension to this offense. You know, they like to spread you out, put receivers all over the field, and then have him run up the middle of that defense.
Third down at 4. Lefevre already with 26 yards on the ground, 29 yards through the air. Over the middle has his man, complete. Another first down, the tight end Rocky Weaver with the grab. 15 yards on that third down conversion. College football primetime presented by Applebee's continues tomorrow night on ESPN as Frank Beamer's Virginia Tech Hokies control their own destiny on the race for the ACC Coastal title when they take on the Miami Hurricanes. That's tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. Lefevre to pass. Incomplete, too high, looking for Brian Anderson.
And this is what I saw when I watched tape of Dan Lefevre in his development. Right here, Eric, if you see, and this is what a veteran quarterback does. When he gets the football, he's initially going to want to throw to the left. That's not open. He resets, gets back to his tight end, and gets the first down. A lot of young quarterbacks can't do that. He's improving greatly in the passing game for this offense.
Wants a bunch, throwing deep. Incomplete, again looking for Pobla. They're trying to go deep twice on this possession. With Pobla, both times the throw has been a little bit too strong. Now let's go back to the studio and join Ryan Burr for Sports Center right now.
Thanks, Eric. North Carolina Hoops coach Roy Williams says the reigning National Player of the Year Tyler Hansbrough extremely doubtful to play in this weekend's season opener against Penn. He's been out of 2 weeks with a stress reaction in his right shin. Baseball news, Tampa Bay's Joe Madden finished 1 vote shy of being the unanimous pick for AL Manager of the Year. The man Madden replaced his manager Lou Piniella, won it in the NL for the Cubs. Sports Center follows our game. Eric and Sean.
Ryan, thank you so much. Well, your Rays starting to get some postseason awards. Lefevre on third down and a bunch, swarmed and brought down. Good pass rush up the middle in the mix. Number 51, Larry English. It's a loss of 3.
And I spoke to Central Michigan head coach Butch Jones before the game, Eric, and he wanted to stay out of third and long. He says that Northern Illinois has a very exotic blitz package that they utilize on third downs, and he wasn't confident that his offensive protection scheme would hold up, and right there it didn't.
So the Chippewas have to punt the football away. There's Larry English, fifth-year senior, a force in his 4 years of eligibility here at Northern. High end-over-end kick is fair, caught by Greg Turner at the 10-yard line, a 37-yard punt. Now this is more like it for Northern Illinois. On third down and a bunch, Lefevre just swore.
There is a school like no other school in the world. Avionics in the morning. Training in the afternoon. Computer programming in the evening. And along the way, Leadership 101. And on the day that your studies here draw to an end, and the commander looks you in the eye and salutes you, it will be with the knowledge that he is only the first of many who will do so. There's strong, and there's Army strong. To see strength like no other, go to GoArmy.com.
In the history of sports, B means a lot of things, but this B borders on unbelievable because only the best of the best of the best can go back to back to back. The chase for the Sprint Cup concludes Sunday at 3 Eastern on ABC.
Find out when the final Week 7 store as the fight for a championship intensifies. Saturday Night Football on ABC. Boston College, Florida State, or Oklahoma State, Colorado. Saturday at 8 Eastern. College football lives here.
We're twins, so we do a lot of stuff together, including watching football.
Oh, come on! Intentional grounding?
Like most twins, we're not exactly the same. You see, Dave's a yeller.
Yes! Who keep throwing it to?
You just have to learn how to cope.
Did you see that?
Clearly, the NFL. That's how I see it.
The new 120Hz Samsung Series 8. When motion clarity means everything, imagination lives. See their whole story at Samsung.com.
Your time is gonna come.
is gonna come. It's up to you to reach out to be that friend who comes along. Your day is gonna come.
When you make a friend, you make a difference.
Your day is gonna come.
Friendship. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
The Huskies, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, taking on the Central Michigan Chippewas. This is their third possession, trying to get something going against the Central Michigan defense. Chad Spann, the deep back, he gets the football. And Spann, a gain of 1, maybe 2 on first down. And, all right, we've seen both teams with a possession, 2 possessions so far. What's your thoughts so far on these 2 clubs?
Well, I think Central Michigan has to start taking advantage of some of their opportunities. They have 16 plays to only 7 for Northern Illinois, but they only have 3 points to show for it. Last week, when Ball State defeated Northern Illinois 45-14, they were able to get out to an early lead. Northern Illinois wants to run the football. To get them out of that ball control offense, you have to get a lead. So Central Michigan needs to start converting some of these drives into points.
And remember, you talked about it, Sean. Central Michigan, they may be looking ahead. They've got that Battle Royale next week when they take on Ball State in Mount Pleasant. Big gainer there. The senior, Matt Simon, climbs the ladder and picks up 21 yards on that pitch and catch.
An excellent throw by the redshirt freshman, Chandler Harness. I like the fact that he was able to decipher what Central Michigan was trying to do to him defensively, made a confident throw down the field. The ball that's easily catchable by his wide receiver.
Big catch for Matt Simon. Had such a special career here in DeKalb, but he's been slowed with injuries here his senior season. That's just his 10th catch of the season. Chad Spann, again, going nowhere fast, dropped at the line of scrimmage. So this game is good for comparative purposes. We saw what Northern Illinois did against Ball State a week ago. Not much. We were curious to see what Jerry Kill's team would do against another elite team in the MAC West, Central Michigan.
Oh, so far, so good if you're Northern Illinois. Even though they're down on the scoreboard right now, this is the type of game that they want to play. They want to play a ball control, knockdown, drag-out game that gets into the fourth quarter. Central Michigan's been in some shootouts, so offensively they need to pick it up. Northern Illinois is comfortable with how the game's pacing out right now.
Northern Illinois, they've yet to cross midfield so far in this first quarter. Harnish out to about the 38-yard line. It'll bring up third down, pick up a 5. Northern Illinois last year winning just 2 games. This year, they're already up to 5 wins, and look at how close they've come in a number of games to getting even more wins. With the exception of last week's game against Ball State, they've been in every contest.
But when you play the type of football Northern Illinois does, their philosophy is they want to run the football, play great defense. You're going to be in a lot of close games, and when you do that, you have to find a way to win games in the fourth quarter. They haven't been able to do it so far, but they've been right there.
Northern Illinois, they've had 2 third downs so far in today's game. They haven't converted either. Harnish with time, throws a bullet that's incomplete. Looking for Marcus Perez. Looked like he had a chance to make that grab, but it goes right through the hands.
Looked like he had a little trouble at the top of his route, getting out of the route. A lot of times receivers, when they get to the top of the route, they take those big steps, and they're unable to get their body coming backwards. If you see right here when Marcus gets to the top of the route, you see right there he falls down, and that's what prevents him from making the catch.
So the senior Perez unable to hang on, and that's going to bring on the punt team. 3 drives for Northern Illinois, now 3 punts for the Huskies. And don't forget, Antonio Brown back deep for Central Michigan. Will he get a chance to return it? Maybe not. He's going to have to get out of dodge as that ball spins close to the 10-yard line. Little gust of wind, and they can get inside the 10. A punt of 50 yards. So a good job for Andy Dittbetter. He averages 39, punts it 50 yards. All right, this is Central Michigan. This is what they have remaining. A week from tonight, ESPN2 heads up to Mount Pleasant. It'll be a home game for the Chippewas against Ball State, and then a game against Eastern Michigan.
And the Ball State game is circled on the schedule because they're 1-2 in the west portion of the MAC division. But they have to win tonight. They have to take care of business tonight to make that game a game for the conference championship on that side.
A lot of people talking about Ball State, deservedly so. They've been fantastic. but the toughest part of their conference schedule still yet to be played. Ontario Sneed gets the first down and a bunch more, pushed out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
And Central Michigan is a defending MAC champion, and, you know, sort of like the New York Giants who won the Super Bowl in the NFL. Everybody's kind of overlooking last year's champion, but they've come up, they showed up this year. You know, actually, they won the last 2 MAC championships, so until you dethrone Central Michigan, they're still the champion.
Pass incomplete in the flat. And just for accuracy's sake, in case you're wondering, you say, what did Dan Lefevre do when the Chippewas played against Ball State last year? Well, they destroyed the Ball State Cardinals. They won 58-38. Lefevre had over 500 yards of total offense. Wasn't even a contest.
And he's an outstanding player. He's definitely a dual threat quarterback, capable of being you throwing the football or running the football.
Larry English may have gotten off the ball too quick. Lefevre runs right past him and gets out close to the 50-yard line. Pickup of 20 if it stands. It looked as if that's going to go against Northern Illinois. That was number 51, Larry English.
And defensive end Larry English a little excited right there. You know, at the end of the run, though, you know, Big Dan, when you get there and you get all you can get, go ahead and get down.
Now we know that Larry English is quick, but not that quick. And we also know he's tough. He's playing with that cast on his right hand. He's got 6 pins, as we speak, 6 pins holding his hand together.
And what I liked about Larry English, as accomplished as he is, the defensive player of the year in the MAC Conference last year, he still says, you know what, Sean, I just want to find ways to get better every week.
Sneed with the carry, and Ontario Sneed picks up 11 yards on first down. Running game starting to figure it out for Central Michigan here at the end of the quarter.
And this is one of the advantages, Eric, of running the spread offense. What it does is because you spread the defense all the way across the field, you find seams in the middle of that defense with your running game because you force those edge linebackers to play the pass of the slot receivers.
Lefevre gets it out in space, and oh my, Antonio Brown greeted rudely by Patrick George. There's a loss on that play, a loss of about 3.
And Keto Kubler, who's outside receiver, that's just unacceptable. You know, you've got to find a way to block your man. And, you know, he's the same receiver that actually slowed up on the down the field pass early in the game. So I'm sure when he gets to the sideline, you know, the coaching staff have a little conversation with Keto. Hey, let's pick it up. You know, this is a big conference game for us.
Well, that's going to do it. This is going to bring up a 3rd down. That's a 2nd down and 12, but head coach Butch Jones wants to think about it, and he will use the break between quarters to design something to get them into the end zone for the first time.
Browns take on the Bills at 8:30 on ESPN Monday Night Football.
That's weird. Why is there a Domino's guy here? I'll take care of this.
Hi, I have an oven-baked sandwich for Steve.
Yeah, I'm Steve, but why would I order a Domino's oven-baked sandwich? I love Submart. All right. Just leave it on the side of the building. Poor guy was lost.
Introducing Domino's oven-baked sandwiches. 4 flavors baked at 450 degrees and delivered right to your mouth. Just $4.99. Domino's. You got 30 minutes.
Starting now, you will never look at World War II the same way again. Starting now, it's not just history, it's real. With eyewitness footage like nothing you've seen before. Electrifying, brutal, and explosive. It's The World at War, Turning Points, the most powerful World War II documentary ever made. Preserved forever in the diamond-sharp clarity of DVD. More than 30 years ago, a team of filmmakers set out to create the ultimate visual history of the war, searching archives around the world. This is what they found. Footage once considered so shocking, it couldn't be seen at all. This is the mother of all World War II documentaries. If you care about the war, this is one collection you must own. Get The World at War Turning Points on 3 DVDs for just $59.99. But wait, call with your credit card and you'll get an extra $20 off. That's more than 10 hours of explosive eyewitness footage for just $39.99. And that's not all. You'll also get a bonus DVD, Hitler's Germany, packed with bone-chilling eyewitness footage of the Nazis' bloody rise and fall. Yours to keep free when you call right now. Plus, do it in the next 10 minutes and get free shipping and handling. That's an additional savings of nearly $7. You'll be there for every major turning point of the war, from North Africa and Stalingrad to D-Day, Iwo Jima, and the final battle for Japan. The New York Times called The World at War superb. The LA Times said these episodes will send chills racing up the spine. Call now to get The World at War Turning Points, plus Hitler's Germany as a free bonus. 4 DVDs for just $39.99. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll ship it for free. Think you've seen World War II before? You haven't seen anything until you've seen this. Call now to order.
Call 1-800-310-6728 to order World at War on 4 DVDs for $39.99 and receive free shipping and handling when you call in the next 10 minutes with your credit card. Call now or order online at timelife.com/worldatwar.
All right, everybody, before we get going, we got some changes on the RV this year. First off, per Dwight's request, we got a beaded cover for the driver's seat. Thank you, Dwight.
It's better for your back.
Also, after last year's debacle, we've installed a 24-second clock in the bathroom. A nice idea. And finally, by popular demand, drum roll please, hydraulics.
ESPN, your NBA destination for games Wednesdays and Fridays.
We played 15 minutes here in DeKalb, Illinois. Central Michigan needing this win. They're up just 3-0. They've dominated statistically through one quarter, but it hasn't translated to the scoreboard. Lefebvre to run on second down. Not much chance at all. It's going to be brought down close to the line of scrimmage. Josh Allen, number 9, a senior from North Chicago, credited with that tackle.
And Northern Illinois, as the game goes on, I think they're going to make some adjustments. I think just like everyone else, they were unsure of how healthy Dan Lefebvre is, but it looks like those ankles are okay. He's been effective running the ball. I'm sure they'll make some adjustments with that front seven as the game progresses to try and take that option away from the Central Michigan offense.
Lefebvre with 86 total yards in the first quarter, 42 through the air, 44 on the ground. On the third down at 12, pocket collapsing. He's got those great wheels. Are they good enough? Yes, they will be good enough to get the first down at the 30. There was nothing there.
It's going to be very close, but if they don't have it, this is that area of the field, I think, where as an offensive, football philosophy, you have to, be aggressive here and go for the first down. Great job by the quarterback, though. He drops back, no one's open. What I like about this is he gets north and south. He doesn't dance around, doesn't waste a lot of time. Finds that marker and gets the first down for his football team.
In the history of college football, the Division I-A level, the FBS level, there have been only 2 quarterbacks that have thrown for 3,000 yards and rushed for 1,000 yards in a season. Vince Young and number 13 in white, Dan Lefebvre. That's pretty good company.
And he's only a junior. If he decides to, has another opportunity to come back next year and even increase, his lore with the Central Michigan football team.
Once again, trying to get that play off quickly. On 2nd and 5, Lefebvre down the middle. Touchdown, Chippewas, Antonio Brown.
Outstanding throw by this young quarterback. Well, not young quarterback. He's been around 3 years, but outstanding throw. I watched Dan Lefebvre play last year, and he could not have made this throw last year. He's improved by leaps and bounds in being able to place the football. Has a defender underneath and outside. Puts the football the only place that his guy can catch it, and the Northern Illinois defenders can't.
A drive that started on the 11-yard line is capped off with a 25-yard touchdown to sophomore Antonio Brown. Impressive play by the Chippewas. 89 yards in only 2 minutes and 59 seconds. Extra point is good. All right, 10-0. Dan Lefebvre in Central Michigan on top of Northern Illinois. Little trivia for you. Hinckley, Illinois, 15 miles away from DeKalb. It's the hometown of Claire Wheeler, who was the 2007 gymnastics state champion, but it's got another athletic claim to fame. What is it? I'll tell you when we get back.
They say good things come to those who wait. What do they know? Why wait when you can get the Yamaha motorcycle, ATV, or Yamaha Rhino of your choice right now? The Yamaha Why Wait sales event. Now get payments as low as $69 a month till 2011 and up to $500 customer cash.
Does bundling really save you money on your phone bill? You could be paying up to $45 a month with these guys. Get Vonage and pay just $24.99 every month. With unlimited local and long distance to anywhere in the US, Canada, and Puerto Rico. And only Vonage gives you free calls to 5 European countries. Get the home phone service that really saves you money. Sign up now and get the first month free.
Call 1-877-4Vonage or go online today.
Okay, you slackers, layabouts, you bench warmers, late bloomers, couch potatoes, no-shows, dawdlers, procrastinators. Introducing Extreme Energy 6-Hour Shot, your worst enemy. Contained in this little bottle is the will to take the dog for a walk, pick up last year's dry cleaning, even show up for work. Extreme Energy 6-Hour Shot, feats of superhuman endeavor in a bottle. Get it, and get it in gear.
Get yours at stores everywhere.
In the history of sports, B means a lot of things, but B stands for more than a backcourt, backstretch, or even back-to-back. This B is bigger. To accomplish this B is so mind-boggling that it borders on unbelievable. So brace yourself, because someone is staring down the barrel of history, and only the best of the best of the best can go back to back to back. The dramatic conclusion to the chase for the Sprint Cup, Sunday at 3 Eastern on ABC.
10-0 Central Michigan on top of Northern Illinois. And ask, what can Brown do for you? Well, a lot of things over the last 3 games. He has really turned his season around in the second part of this season.
You know, head coach Butch Jones ran and raved about him before the game. Said he's such a competitor. He's so versatile, able to do so many things for us offensively. Definitely one of our key playmakers.
Third return of the night for Ricky Kreider. And Kreider out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. Well, moments ago, we asked you about Hinckley, Illinois. It's about 15 miles away from DeKalb. What's its athletic distinction? How about this? The first ever road game for the Harlem Globetrotters was in Hinckley, Illinois, a small gym. This was back in January of 1927. Abe Saperstein, who owned the team, he drove him to the arena in a Model T Ford. In case you're wondering, that was the first road game. It took until 1968 for the Harlem Globetrotters to play their first ever game in Harlem, New York. 41 years.
Every time I do a broadcast with you, Eric, I feel like I get smarter because I learned something that I didn't know.
We'll credit Bart Fox up for that one. Miko Brown gets out close to the 40-yard line. Tim Brazil on the stop. And this is actually the venue where they played their first game. That's it. It doesn't exist anymore.
You think it's air conditioned?
No. But Hinckley, Illinois, of all places, we're not that close to Chicago. We're fairly close to Rockford, which is a medium-sized city, but it's not a ton of people in this area. And there were only 300 people at that game in 1927. Harnish wants to throw, has a man, incomplete. Willie Clark had it batted out of his hands. Good defense played by Bobby Say, sophomore.
And an outstanding job by Bobby Say. Actually, his 6th pass breakup of the year. What I like, he was patient. He understood the ball was in there, didn't panic. Made the play without causing pass interference. There's a lot of defensive backs in that same situation, Eric. They rush themselves. They do something that's out of character. Well, not Bobby Say. He's been back there. He understands that I can make this play, and he made it. So secondary coach extremely happy right now.
Northern Illinois, they still have not crossed the 50-yard line. Harnish loses the football just up in the air, and Central Michigan has it. Not sure if that was an interception or a fumble, but anyway you slice it, it's a turnover, and Central Michigan is going to have great field position. Ball just popped up into the air.
And anytime you can get pressure on that quarterback with only rushing 4 guys, see, tremendous job right here. Actually hits it off the back of his own player. You know, and he's going to look at that on tape tomorrow. The quarterback, Chandler Harrison, feel like he should have just taken the sack right there, punted the football, and allowed his defense to possibly get the football back for his offense.
It was number 79, Tredale Kennedy, who actually knocked it up in the air, and it was junior defensive end Sam Williams who's credited with the interception. So a couple of defensive linemen playing like the small guys. Left side, Brian Schroeder. Another good gain for the Chippewas. The first down, a pickup of 11.
And now Bobby says pass breakup doesn't look so good. You don't want to get on the bus as a secondary player and have the defensive lineman have more interceptions than you.
There's Schroeder's going to get a blow after that 11-yard pickup. True freshman from Corydon, Indiana. It's a big deal in those parts when he was playing his high school football. We're happy to have him at Central Michigan. Ontario Sneed back into the game at tailback, but Lefebvre wants to throw. He gets it out to Sneed. And Sneed with room. Inside the 5. Touchdown, Chippewas.
Complete to Ontario Sneed.
And Butch Jones is dialing up the right calls right now. This offense is rolling. I said earlier, they were dominating the game, but they weren't scoring. Well, they've changed that. They're still dominating the game, and they're producing points. And this is what you have to do against this Northern Illinois team. Now you're going to force them, when they get the football on offense, to be one-dimensional. They're not going to be able to turn around and run the football. They're going to have to throw it with that young quarterback.
2 touchdowns in a minute and 24 seconds for Central Michigan. A 25-yard touchdown catch, Antonio Brown, and now a 27-yard catch and run by Ontario Sneed. And it's as if a faucet was turned on by Central Michigan. They're just pouring out offense right now. It started with the interception by Sam Williams, and it's ended on a touchdown run off a pass from Dan Lefebvre to Ontario Sneed.
Oh, hey, what's in the bag? Combo meal. We got boxes, fully loaded, tons of stuff.
Hold it. So it's a combo meal. What's it come with? Fries? Fries. That's something.
We got 8 somethings. This box could rip that bag in half.
Ditch the bag. Get the box. The KFC Guitar Hero Fully Loaded Box. Packed with 2 new original recipe strips, a new original recipe snacker, drumstick or thigh, 2 sides, biscuit, large drink. That's a lot of food.
In a season full of surprises, find out what the final Week 7 store as the fight for a championship intensifies. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Boston College, Florida State, or Oklahoma State, Colorado. Saturday at 8 Eastern. College football lives here.
The DirecTV Rewards Visa Card delivers more DirecTV for less. Turn your everyday purchases into discounts on our exclusive sports packages, your favorite premium movie channels, or state-of-the-art HD DVRs. Apply today and you'll get $5 off your monthly DirecTV bill for a full year. There's simply no limit to the DirecTV Rewards Visa Card. Call now and let the savings begin.
Here at DirecTV, we're always looking for new ways to offer you the best in entertainment. So we've created an exclusive commercial-free network just for you. It's on channel 101 and it's available to you at no extra charge. Watch advanced screenings and innovative original entertainment that you're only going to see on DirecTV, not on cable and not on Dish. The 101 network, it's not just a channel, it's pure commercial-free entertainment, and it's yours to enjoy. Compliments of DirecTV.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by KFC. Come in now and get a Guitar Hero Fully Loaded Box.
Ontario Sneed, an impressive 27-yard touchdown catch. See, more like a 2-yard catch, and he ran the rest of the way. Got some blocking help that we have to take a look at again. Get some help from his friends.
Outstanding job of setting the block up. Great instincts by the running back. You hear people talk about running backs with instincts. Well, Ontario Sneed has instincts, something that you can't teach, at that position.
Northern Illinois, an interception turned into a touchdown in 2 plays. Trying to get their feet underneath them, looking for a good return. This is Ricky Kreider. Kreider's 4th return is the best of the night. Kreider, 1 man to beat, down the left sideline. And he's knocked down at the 20 by the kicker. A flag comes down late. A return of 75 yards for Kreider. That's what Northern Illinois needed.
Personal foul. Face gap. Number 5. Allies half the distance to the goal. First down, Northern Illinois.
So a great return, just got a little bit better.
And Eric, I could kind of see this coming because Northern Illinois has been doing an outstanding job of not allowing penetration back with their returner. And this is an excellent job of a young man getting down the sideline, but he's going to get a couple jokes thrown his way when you get ran down by the kicker on the sideline. But great field position, definitely a momentum booster. This Northern Illinois team needed that.
I'm not sure where that face mask was called. Sure didn't look like it was on Ricky Kreider. Chad Spann with the carry, twists forward for a yard. This is the first time today that Northern Illinois has been in Central Michigan territory. And all it took was a 75-yard kickoff return.
You know, Northern Illinois, they really needed that. You could feel the game getting away from them. They needed their special teams to make a play. Now, offensively, they have to get a touchdown here. You know, a field goal, you know, you have to get 7 points out of this type of situation, especially when you're down.
Movement on the line. They're going to move back 5 yards.
You know, and this ball game resembles.
Offense, 5 yards. Remain second down.
You know, this game resembles last week's game against Ball State. Ball State jumped out to a big lead. Central Michigan has jumped out to a big lead. You know, Northern Illinois was not able last week to find a way to keep the game close. So this will be important for them to score a touchdown right here. A field goal, I don't think, does them any good.
On the year, Northern Illinois scoring either with a touchdown or a field goal. 81% of the time when they get into the red zone. Harnish's pass to the sideline is broken up. Tim Brazil knocked it away. It'll bring up a 3rd down and goal.
And he was just a little late on that throw. You know, you would think when you have a rollout as a quarterback, there's no timing involved. But there is timing. And he should have thrown that ball 1 step earlier. It would have been a completion. It's a mistake that a young quarterback makes in a game-time situation. I think one of the things that head coach Jerry Kill meant when he said, you know, Chandler does a good job in 7-on-7, but sometimes in 11-on-11, you know, he leaves some plays on the field. And when he looks at the tape, he's going to know that that's one of them that he left on the field.
Harnish has missed on his last 4 passes, including throwing an interception. Pocket collapses and he is dropped. A Malachi crunch at about the 22-yard line. So they started at the 10 and they fall backwards 12 yards in total. Mark Dietz and Frank Zombo combining on the sack.
And the only bad thing about this, and you know, maybe this one goes to the play calling a little bit. On 3rd down, you know, the play action pass isn't going to have a big effect on the defense, and it definitely didn't on Central Michigan. They did an outstanding job of recognizing down and distance and took away all of the young quarterback Chandler's options.
39-yard attempt here for Mike Salerno, Chicago kid in the south suburbs of Chicago, playing here at Northern Illinois. And he makes this kick to put Northern Illinois on the board for the first time. Kind of hard to believe, but that's a scoring drive of negative 12 yards. Don't see that very frequently. But Northern Illinois happy to get on the board. Central Michigan using that defensive line to keep them from 7 and hold them to just 3.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
Oh, good.
Jack Link's Jerky. Feed your wild side.
It's no surprise that people are trying to be smarter with their money these days. I'm Dan Hesse, CEO of Sprint, and we have a plan for you. What if you could tap into all the amazing things these devices can do for one flat monthly rate? This could be the only phone you'll ever need. Pretty cool, huh?
Michelin makes some of the most fuel-efficient tires on the road, so you can take the pump down. Find out how much you can save at MichelinMan.com. Michelin, a better way forward.
Sirs, your comments on global warming.
It's definitely hot. Just like the NFC North's running game.
It's a pass-happy league, but this division likes to keep it on the ground.
When you've got Adrian Peterson and Ryan Grant, why not?
Does that help?
Tune into the best team in football. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM, Sundays at 11.
Finally, something to smile about for the Huskies. They get on the board. 75-yard kickoff return by Ricky Kreider, cashed into a field goal. College football presented by Cars.com continues Saturday afternoon when Beanie Wells leads Ohio State against the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Ohio State needs a win to keep their Rose Bowl and BCS hopes alive. That's Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN. And Ohio State a little bit angry. They got upset last year in Columbus by Illinois. Duke Tressel's got some revenge on his mind.
Yeah, and we're doing a MAC football game. The MAC conference pulled the upset last week. Western Michigan defeating Illinois. So Illinois licking their wounds a little bit going into the big showdown with Ohio State.
4 MAC teams have defeated Big Ten teams already this year. Antonio Brown decides to take it out of the end zone. And he's brought down before he can get to the 20, and a flag comes down. So Antonio Brown probably would have been better served to stay.
Eric, that's what you call ill-advised. So when you have an athlete that's as dynamic as Antonio Brown, every time he touches the football, he wants to make a play.
This is what we're talking about. 4 different MAC schools have already flexed some muscle against the Big Ten this year. And what we don't have on that graphic is Bowling Green earlier this year. They knocked off a Big East team in the Pitt Panthers. So it's been a stellar year in terms of non-conference play for the most part for the MAC. Just some housekeeping there. They picked up the flag. I guess they decided that there wasn't an infraction. So the ball will be at the 18-yard line. Lefevre feels the pressure, gets out, and makes a solid gain out of something that really wasn't there. Pickup of 6. What do you think about Lefevre's game?
He has to be like one of the most frustrating quarterbacks to play against because, you know, right there, Central Michigan attempted to throw the football. Northern Illinois did everything correctly with their pass coverage, but he's so dynamic. He's such a threat to run or pass. He was still able to make something positive happen on first down.
This time they give to Sneed. And Sneed puts his head down and gets to the 33-yard line, a pickup of 9. Well, Lefevre hanging out in some tall cotton. This is the man that Central Michigan likes to compare him with. Heisman Trophy Award winner from a year ago, Tim Tebow.
Actually averaged more yards per game running than Tebow, 46 touchdowns to 55. So he's right in the same neighborhood. Maybe not next door, but he's right on the same block.
Now, these are the numbers from last year when Lefevre was healthy through the entire year. And you could make the argument that statistically he had a better season than Tebow last year. Inside carry, Sneed gets out to the 36-yard line. I think this needs a second look because Lefevre and Tebow, completion percentage, it's basically a wash. Passing yards per game, Lefevre had more. Rushing yards, Lefevre had more. The touchdowns a little bit different, but we talked about this before the game. I think Tim Tebow was more of a goal line runner for Urban Meyer's team than Lefevre was. Sneed with the rush again. A big gain, this time close to the 50-yard line before Alex Kuba brings him down, a pickup of 13.
And if you're a Dan Lefevre believer, of course you're saying that those extra 9 touchdowns, total touchdowns that Tebow has, because he does run the ball on the goal line, which they haven't done as much this year. And subsequently, his statistics aren't what they were last year.
Sneed is wrestled down close to the line of scrimmage, maybe a loss of 1. Already today in this first half, Central Michigan, as a team, they have rushed for close to 150 yards. They're now at 139.
And I think that's one of the misconceptions about the spread offense. When you hear spread, you automatically think run and shoot, throw the football around. But the spread teams that are successful offensively find balance. They find a way to run and throw the football.
Lefevre calls his own number, and again, a big gain for the junior. Man, he's fun to watch. Josh Allen finally brings him down, but not before a pickup of 19.
And this is just an outstanding job. I continue to say the same things, but he continues to do the same things. You know, his ability to get in that secondary and make good things happen for that offense.
Northern Illinois gasping for air right now. They call a timeout defensively, trying to figure out how they're going to stop Lefevre and this offense for Central Michigan. We'll take a timeout with them. We'll be back in a moment here in DeKalb.
13 progressive universities, 6 diverse states, 23 sponsored championships, more than 100 academic All-American athletes, 11 College Hall of Fame coaches, millions of dedicated fans, one great conference. The Mid-American Conference, the new mark of excellence.
Central Michigan on top of Northern Illinois, 17-3. You're taking a look at the backup quarterback for Central Michigan, senior Brian Brunner, who started the last game that Central Michigan played against Indiana. All he did was pass for 485 yards, was the MAC Offensive Player of the Week, and now he's back on the bench again when Lefevre's back out there. Harris Cotton with his first run of the game. The ball comes loose late. We'll have to see if this is a live football. Northern Illinois, they come out of the pack with the ball, but was he blown dead? It's Northern Illinois football. Melvin Rice jumps on the football, and that may be the shot in the arm that the Huskies need.
And as we see him going to the ground, does the ball come out first? It's close. It's tough to tell from that angle.
Hard to figure out when that ball came loose.
And we don't have a great look here, but it almost looks as if the ball may have come out late.
They're going to spend some extra time.
And regardless, you have to be disappointed in your big lineman. You think that your lineman would win that battle at the bottom of the pile for the fumble recovery.
And quarterback Melvin Rice, maybe the play of the day so far for Northern Illinois, coming up with that recovery, ripping it away from a lineman. Every play, of course, in college football reviewed, but they're going to take some extra time to make sure they get this one right.
And if you can watch his knees, can you see when his knee goes down? And it almost looks to me as if he's down, but I don't know if the visual evidence is going to be conclusive, you know, to overturn the call on the field.
Yeah, there's just too many bodies before we can see when exactly the ball came out. It looked like that would cause the fumble, but you can't exactly see when it came out. It was Pat Schiller, redshirt freshman from Geneva, Illinois, who caused the fumble. Yeah, Sean, I think you're right.
Following review, the play stands as called. First down, Northern Illinois.
I think they got it right. So a big play for Jerry Kill's bunch. They call the timeout defensively to try and regroup, and they dial up a forced fumble and a fumble recovery.
And that frustrates you as an offensive coach because you've been moving the football. Ontario Sneed, Dan Lefevre doing an outstanding job in the running game. You go to a young man who hasn't run the ball that much tonight, and he coughs it up. It's unfortunate if you're a Central Michigan fan.
Nico Brown looking for space. Gets maybe a yard before he's thrown back. Middle linebacker Nick Ballore, along with Matt Burning.
You know, Eric, I don't know if it's just the cold, crisp air or what it is, but it's some hitting going on the field right now. You can hear the clash of shoulder pads almost on every play. Both sides are playing aggressive, hard-nosed football.
This is back football. What do you expect?
As a former quarterback, I tried to avoid contact at all costs.
Play action fake. Harnish wants to throw. Has a man. It's caught. Matt Simon with the grab. Pickup of 19 yards.
And this is a route that they ran earlier in the ball game. It's a corner route. And again, I think Chandler's comfortable because he completed the same pass earlier in the game. He's comfortable throwing this throw. And if I was Coach Jerry Kill, I'd go back to that play at some point because he seems very comfortable in making that corner throw.
Third first down for Northern Illinois. On first down here, Harnish picks up 4, maybe 5. And they're across midfield for the second time today. Northern Illinois, the type of team, they don't want to get too far behind. The redshirt freshman quarterback, Jerry Kill, he wants to keep this manageable.
Yeah, the head coach, he definitely wants to keep the ball game close, but if your quarterback gets hot, sometimes you have to ride that hand. And if the young quarterback can get hot completing some passes, I'll continue to allow him to throw the football.
Harnish designed run again, and this time doesn't fool anyone. Caught behind the line of scrimmage by Sean Murnane.
And one of the things that's happening so far, Eric, is Central Michigan's front 7 are just dominating the line of scrimmage right now. Every play, they have defenders in the backfield, whether it's a running play or a passing play for Northern Illinois. And unless Northern Illinois can find a way to that offensive line to start controlling the line of scrimmage, it's going to be a tough day offensively.
The big fellas up front, Sean Williams, Sean Murnane, Tre'Dale Kennedy, and Frank Zombo get the majority of the action. But Central Michigan, they substitute freely along that front, trying to keep everyone fresh. Northern Illinois, they haven't converted a third down so far today. Harnish, pass is incomplete, almost intercepted by Josh Gordy. A couple of men in the area may have been looking for Matt Simon. It's incomplete.
And again, Eric, they're dominating the line of scrimmage. You can see they're getting back there every time Chandler gets to throw the football. Someone's at his feet, can't step through his throws. And how to find a way to negate some of the pressure that the front 7 of Central Michigan is putting on their quarterback and their running backs.
In case you're wondering, even though he plays in the state of Michigan, Josh Gordy is not related to Barry Gordy. Someone could be wondering that. It's possible. Mike Salerno coming in to kick this one away. Salerno, normally the place kicker, getting a chance to punt, and he punts it into the end zone. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels continues Saturday night as Alabama alum Sylvester Croom tries to get his 3rd win in a row against his alma mater. Mississippi State, the Bulldogs take on #1 Alabama. That's Saturday night at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. Take a look at the ESPNU All-State Standings review. These are the BCS standings. Alabama, Texas Tech, as it shapes up right now, they would play in the championship game, but still a lot of football to be played.
Yeah, and I still think you're going to hear from that team in Gainesville. I still think Florida's going to have a say in this before the end of this is over. Texas Tech, you have to love what they're doing. A couple big wins versus Texas, Oklahoma State. Their quarterback, Graham Harrell, outstanding. Wide receiver Crabtree, they're potent. You look at them offensively, and they're a well-rounded team that's very difficult to stop. But I just think the way Alabama plays football, the fact that they are not very explosive, I don't think, on offense, ultimately is going to catch up with them at some point before the season's over. They have to play their rival Auburn. They still have to play Mississippi State, who actually has beaten them the last 2 years, and more than likely will play Florida. We'll play Florida in the SEC championship game.
Crazy play, end around. Antonio Brown has the football, and Brown gets out across the 50-yard line all the way down to the 44. They faked it to Brian Schroeder. They give it to Antonio Brown, and he picks up 27.
And I like the execution. One of the things I've been impressed with is how well this Central Michigan offense is executing. If you notice downfield, all of the guys are blocking, their hats on the correct side. I think a lot of credit has to go to second-year head coach Butch Jones, who, by the way, has a 12-1 record in MAC games since taking over the mantle here at Central Michigan.
Antonio Sneed out of the backfield. Picks up a couple of yards on first down.
You know, they're getting a lot of big plays, but it's because fundamentally they're very sound. Their guys are capable and are well coached. They go downfield, they block the right defender, they get their block, so the ball carrier has options as whether he can go left, right, and that's how the big plays happen, Eric, and the other guys do what they're supposed to do.
Lefevre wants to throw, has time, looking for the deep ball. Incomplete. Someone zigged when he should have zagged. Wasn't anyone in the area right there. That could have been a pickoff.
One of the few mistakes you'll see from junior quarterback Dan Lefevre. You're confident when he drops back the pass. Maybe got a little too aggressive right there. You know, sometimes everything's going well. You take some shots downfield. And as you say, Eric, yeah, it was a little zig and was a little zag. Unfortunately, Melvin Rice wasn't able to come with the interception, so no foul, no harm.
Lefevre had completed his last 5 straight passes. Looking to pick up a third down. Design quarterback run, and Lefevre does it again. Lefevre opening some eyes here at Husky Stadium. Pick up a 13 yards.
You know, as good as Dan Lefevre's been running the football, you know, he's going to have to learn. You can't continually just get hit, though. He's going to have to find a way to not take all these hits. You know, I was talking to the head coach before the game, and, you know, the difference between a good and great runner is great runners only get tackled. Good runners get hit. So Dan Lefevre has to find a way, even though he's successful running the game, not to take all that contact. Every time he runs at the end of the play, he's getting hit. Has to find a way to get down.
Lefevre already with over 200 total yards of offense. Sneed wrapped up and brought down close to the line of scrimmage. Let's go back to the studio and Ryan Burr.
All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Coming up on SportsCenter at the half. Every weekend in college football, the games get bigger. We get you set for what should be another wild one in college football. Plus the heartwarming story of Artrell Woods from Oklahoma State and his journey back to the football field. Greg Oden back in action for the Blazers tonight. We get you up to date on the NBA. All coming up SportsCenter at the half, guys.
Ryan, thank you so much. Here we still have a little bit over 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Lefevre under duress and brought down from behind. Lefevre sacked by Corey Hansen. I apologize, that's Brandon Bice with the tackle.
And he gets a great jump right there. You know, anytime you're in a shotgun a lot, your tackles are put in a tough position because they can't see the football. So they're basically moving when the guard moves. So that defensive end, if he can get a jump, a lot of times he can get an advantage on that tackle.
Third down and a bunch. Lefevre just throws it up, and his prayer is answered. It's a catch along the boundary. Brian Anderson. This guy's Houdini.
And as you see Dan Lefevre more and more, now you understand how he was a freshman of the year in the conference in 06 and then came back and was offensive MVP last year because he just does so many things for you. And great job on the sideline, not only making the catch by Brian Anderson, but keeping his feet in bounds. Eric, I'm impressed. This is a very well-coached football team at Central Michigan.
That was the NFL catch. Anderson got in both of the feet. 3rd and 14, they picked up 17. So the Chippewas stay on the field. Pass complete. Pobla. And Pobla gets inside the 5.
And right here again, we look at Brian Anderson tiptoeing very quietly as he picks up a first down on a big 3rd down conversion. And for a big receiver, you know, he's 6'5", 213. It makes it even more impressive because, you know, the big receivers aren't as quick and fast, but he made it happen.
The all-time leader at Central Michigan in both receptions and touchdowns. He's had a fantastic career, still just a junior, just like Lefevre.
And you love the reward him right here with a jump ball touchdown.
Lefevre keeps it, Brought down at about the 2. Jake Kaufman jumped on his back. In case you're wondering, top of the screen, underneath the names of both schools, is how many timeouts remain. Central Michigan, they have all 3 timeouts. Northern Illinois, they have just 2 timeouts remaining. There's Larry English. And a timeout is called. I think this is Central Michigan that called the timeout. Actually, it's Northern Illinois. They choose to burn their second timeout.
They were having some substitution problems trying to get the right personnel on and off the field, and they were going to have too many men on the field at the snap of the ball, so forced to call another timeout. Second time that's happened to them this game.
Sean, I want to ask you, you and I have both had a chance to watch the game last week. Northern Illinois, when they took on Ball State. Ball State just was fantastic. Ball State winning again yesterday against Miami of Ohio. Your thoughts, because that's the game that everyone's talking about next week, 7 days from now on ESPN2. We're going to see Central Michigan and Ball State. How does that game shake down in your eyes?
Well, I think it's going to definitely be a competitive ball game. When you look at both teams, they're very similar, especially offensively. They both have offenses that are, they go around their quarterbacks. Dan Lefebvre's an excellent quarterback. Everybody knows that Nate Davis, is one of the top quarterbacks in college football, but they both are very balanced in their spread attacks. Both teams are committed to running the football, and so you keep a defense off balance. It's basically going to come down to, I think, who has the fewest turnovers. Whoever can get through the game and not create short fields for the opposing offense, I think, has a huge advantage.
And something to keep an eye on. You're looking at Ball State, their scouting report. Not only are they undefeated, but they haven't played a close game. Their average margin of win is 22 points, so it'll be interesting to see what happens if they get into a tussle. That game will be played at Central Michigan next Wednesday. And Lefebvre, that's just easy. That's an easy touchdown for the junior Lefebvre. He waltzes into the end zone. And that's the 3rd touchdown of the first half for the Chippewas.
And waltz was the correct adjective because he was untouched. He had no obstruction. He simply walked into the end zone. Now, if I'm Dan Lefebvre, I'm going to the sideline. I'm like, come on, Coach Jones. I'm a quarterback. Let me throw some touchdowns. When I got in this area, I wanted to throw the football. But I wasn't as good a runner as Dan Lefebvre.
Does it make a difference to a quarterback whether or not they get a throwing touchdown or a running touchdown?
Maybe not to Dan Lefebvre, but it made a difference to me.
It did. You thumped your nose at those running touchdowns. That extra point is no good, so that's one of the few things that Central Michigan has not done well here in the first half. We talked about it a little bit before. The MAC has been fantastic this year against the Big Ten. Already 4 wins against Big Ten conference schools. Ball State early this year, winning down in Bloomington against Indiana. And then the shocker, the Big House, the Toledo Rockets. They haven't had a fantastic season by any stretch of imagination, but they go into Ann Arbor and they win against Michigan. This was 10 days ago. This was the game between Central Michigan and Indiana. Central Michigan winning against a Big Ten team for the first time since 1992 when they beat the Spartans at Michigan State. And just a couple of days ago at Ford Field in Detroit, Western Michigan. How does this happen? Western Michigan against an Illinois team that needs to win, and Illinois just was blitzed by Tim Hiller and the Broncos. I'd go on a limb and say that game actually wasn't as close as the final score. Western Michigan flat out played.
Yeah, Illinois made a late rally to make it, close and competitive, the final score. But, in college football, there's so much parity now. There's not a big difference, between the elite teams and the MAC, the WAC, Conference USA versus the middle-of-the-road teams and the big conferences. I mean, those teams are very similar, and a lot of times the teams from the smaller conferences are winning the head-to-head matchups.
Ricky Kreider, another return. His last one, he returned 75 yards. This one, not as impressive. Well, the key, it seems, if you want to have a successful team in the MAC against the bigger schools, is to have an elite quarterback.
Hey, and that's the one position on the field, Eric, that you can't hide. And I think that's a constant for teams that are successful year in and year out, is they have consistent quality quarterback play. And Western Michigan, who beat Illinois, Ball State, who defeated Indiana, Central Michigan defeated the same Indiana team. All 3 of them have excellent quarterbacks. And I don't think it's coincidence that these 3 teams are 1, 2, 3, in the conference from a record standpoint.
Why do you think Nate Davis, out of those 3 quarterbacks, is getting so much talk about him?
Well, I think he's been on the national stage the most. They had the Navy game, national TV, had a couple other games. And when you look at him play the game, you just know that his skill set will transfer to the next level. His ability to move in the pocket, he can make all the throws. Northern Illinois head coach Jared Kill said that the thing about him is you have to cover the whole field. You know, he said you can't eliminate any portion of the field defensively because, you know, he has the ability to see and make all the throws, and that's rare in a college quarterback, and it's what you need when you go to the next level.
Yeah, a lot of times you expect the head coach to give the kind of the blasé political answer. Jerry Kill didn't do it. He said flat out, Nate Davis is the best quarterback we will see all season long. All right, that'll do it. Dan Lefevre in Central Michigan, they've got something to say, trying to win to hold pace with Ball State. So far, so good. They lead 23-3. Now let's go to the studio in our halftime report with Ryan Burr.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Welcome into Sports Center at the half. I'm Ryan Burr, and we've got a busy halftime report for you today. Watching Central Michigan right now, Dan Lefevre really getting it done on the road at Northern Illinois, 23-3, Central on top. As I said, a busy day. We'll get you up to date on a lot of college football coming up this weekend, but we want to update you from the NBA. The Blazers and the Heat, the return of Greg Oden to the lineup for Portland. Portland winning the game in Miami right now, 54-49, but Greg Oden not much of a factor. 9 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds as the Blazers getting it done despite a mediocre effort from Oden. D. Wade leading all scorers with 18 for the Heat. When we return, every weekend in college football gets bigger as the season rolls along. Some monster games on the docket. We'll hear from those teams coming up.
Now you see me? Now you don't. Now you see me? Now you don't. What you are seeing is how much farther, wider, and better you'll see with Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania. Because the next time you see me, I may not be alone. Headlights dim over time. Remember, always replace in pairs. See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
Did you know every Sunday a football fan goes without watching their favorite player?
According to a recent study by DirecTV, over 50 million fans live away from their team.
It's a condition known as displaced fan syndrome, or DFS.
I first contracted DFS when Peyton moved to Indianapolis, then again when Eli went to New York.
Thankfully, DirecTV has a cure.
The push for the playoffs is on. Follow your team no matter where you live. NFL Sunday Ticket only from DirecTV.
Help fight DFS.
Make the call.
Enjoy the most college hoops in the nation from ESPN Full Court on DirecTV. Key matchups with some of college basketball's top conferences and up to 30 games per week from outside your local area. Order the early bird package, only 2 payments of $49.50 each, and save $10 off the regular season price when you order by November 27th. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or log on to directtv.com/fullcourt. ESPN Full Court from DirecTV.
Give me that tiger head. That dog is ugly. USC, give me this thing here. Forget the helmet.
National champions.
Here, forget about it. Look at this thing. Forget it.
He can turn any crowd against him. Any crowd against him.
Game day. It's Hampton against Florida A&M in Tallahassee, 10 a.m. That's where game day. Our game's on ABC. Boston College, FSU, Oklahoma State, and Colorado. Last weekend, we saw Penn State fall from the ranks of the unbeaten. Who will fall from the mighty this week? That is the question. 8 of the top 10 in action, including the #1 team in the nation, unbeaten Alabama hosting Mississippi State.
Do you have kids? How old? Well, when they get 16, when they get the keys to the car and they go out at night, no matter how much you love them and how much you trust them, you still worry about them until they walk in the door at night. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about our guys. I love them. I trust them. They've done a good job all year. They haven't gotten in trouble. But until they show up and do it, it means when they walk in the door at night, and I'm fine. I think we've been the target for a while now. I think everybody's bringing their A game to play us. That's something our players need to understand. LSU played an outstanding game against us, and they have a lot of good players, and it was a tough physical game. And I think our focus still needs to be on what we do, how we improve, who we are, how we compete.
Florida Gators answered some questions whether they would have a letdown coming off their emotional win over Georgia. They pounded Vanderbilt 42-14, scored on their first 4 possessions. Next up, they're worried about South Carolina, not about being #1 in the BCS.
Well, I don't make it more than what it is. We've had that for every year, every week. The only difference is that we've always talked about the SEC East in those meetings. And on Sunday we do have a meeting, and I think it was appropriate. It was the first time we even addressed it. We addressed it, I think, for 6 minutes. I told them very clearly what it is, and then if I hear it again, then we're going to have extra running. And you know, there's no business discussing that. Here's exactly where we stand. Here's who we play. Here's your schedule for the next 4 weeks. Let's move on. And that's what we did. And I'm proud to say, it's over. It's done. Then you flip on the South Carolina film and you see a team that's won 7 games and a very explosive offense with a great tight end and then the #1 defense, and a kick return team that's ranked very highly too. So our focus is very clear.
9-1 Texas holding out hope for getting into the Big 12 championship game and staying in the BCS hunt. Last week, the Longhorns rebounded from their only loss, taking care of Baylor 45-21. Now it's on the road to Kansas, once again looking to take care of business.
The thing that we told them is nothing really matters except you winning. And if you win, it all takes care of itself, and you'll end up in a really nice place that you'll be proud of. And if certain things happen, you may be in the conference championship game, you can win out and still not get in it, possibly too, so don't worry about all that. But the one thing we know for sure is we'll be in a better place by winning out than if we lose a game in the next 2, so you better go play and forget it, and that's what we did.
Coach, obviously you talked about the scenarios, and they are complicated, but there is a scenario where you're going to have to rely on the computers to put you into a conference championship game. With that being in your mind, do you have to worry about style points, impressing voters with the way you win games?
It's a question that we're asked a lot, and I don't worry about style points. You worry about winning. Do the best you can, and you would hope that people would put the best football team at that time in the right places, and that's what we're working toward. If you're working on style points, number one, it's an insult to the team you're playing because it insinuates you can.
Still coming your way, SportsCenter at the half. Va-Tech travels to Miami to take on the U, a game with major ACC Bowl implications. The game we're watching right now, Central Michigan, Northern Illinois. How about Dan LeFever? I got a fever, and his only prescription is a little Orlando Sneed with the touchdown, 23-3 at the half. We're back after this.
LeFever's pass complete.
November 18th.
Yeah!
The best reviewed comedy of the year arrives on DVD.
Load lock. Huh?
With even more outrageous stuff than you saw in theaters.
Man, I'm hitting toes, Jimmy.
Tropic Thunder. Get some on 2-disc DVD and Blu-ray November 18th.
Taste Papa John's new Zesty Italiano Pizza. Spicy salami, pepperoni, spicy Italian sausage, and 4 cheeses. Or the Tuscan 6-cheese pizza, just $12.99 each. Or buy both for $10.99 each. Call or click papajohns.com.
Everyone has a special talent or aptitude. At NIU, world-class faculty work closely with each and every student to help them identify and develop their own unique skills. NIU students participate in groundbreaking research, get hands-on work experience, explore their ambitions, and find their niche. It's the hallmark of an educational experience that is second to none. Discover your genius at NIU.
Kent State taking on Temple, picking up in the second quarter. Julian Edelman hands off to the little man, Eugene Jarvis from Central Catholic in Pittsburgh, and the little man finds his way into the end zone. Kent State up 14-3. Ensuing possession, fumble. Kent recovers, doesn't take long. It's Edelman to Phil Gardner. It's all the way down to the 1-yard line. Edelman, little play action, keeps it himself, and a nice move, diving into the end zone, 21-17. Kent State on top. What to watch for North Carolina and Maryland, 2 of 6 teams in the ACC with a pair of losses needing a victory to remain in the race for a spot in the conference title game. Tar Heels are 7-2. They've won 5 out of 6. They'll face Maryland, who's won 6 straight at home, 5-0 this season at Byrd Stadium. Miami plays its final home game of 08 when they host the Hokies on Thursday night. Vautech's lost 2 of its last 3, but is 14-1 in November since joining the ACC. Miami riding a 4-game winning streak, its longest winning streak since 06. Tech and Frank Beamer expecting a very tough game in Miami.
I think in Miami, you got a team that's improving quickly, talented, athletic, and you know, on a win streak. So you know, that's what we're walking into down there. So hopefully we're improving as a football team. Some things went better in the last ball game, but trying to get those things again, that's our challenge right now.
The Hokies travel to Miami to face the Hurricanes Thursday night, needing a win to keep pace with North Carolina in Miami in the ACC Coast Division race. Vautech was nearly unbeatable on the road in conference games since joining the conference in 04, having won 15 of 16 entering the season. However, the tide has turned. Hokies just 1-2 this year. They've lost 2 straight on the road to Boston College and Florida State in October. This entire season has seen some unbelievable wide receiver play, including in that mix Oklahoma State's Des Bryant with 15 touchdowns already. But it's another Cowboys receiver that has really stirred fans the way no other player could. It wasn't with a touchdown or a circus catch. It was with a play that didn't even make the highlight reel. A play that if you don't know how he got there, you wouldn't think it was great. Tom Rinaldi tells you why it was so great.
It was one pass from a backup quarterback to a reserve receiver. One pass late in the fourth quarter of a lopsided game. One pass for 7 yards. But rarely has a catch ever been more of a completion.
The completion of an unbelievable journey. And hopefully it's not the end of the journey, but just the completion of getting him back to where he was before the injury occurred.
16 months ago, Artrell Woods expected to have the greatest season of his life as a sophomore receiver for Oklahoma State.
Throws deep down the right side. Artrell Woods wide open, and he makes a catch and takes it into the end zone for a touchdown.
He had a great spring and had really come on strong, and Artie was really, really fast. And we thought that eventually he may be the best player on our offense.
I at least wanted to have 1,000 yards and push my team to at least 9-10 wins.
Throws it to the corner of the end zone, and Artrell Woods makes the catch.
That all changed in one moment, July 13th, 2007. In the Cowboys' weight room, Woods stepped off a small platform box with a 185-pound bar across his shoulders.
Didn't quite get his foot all the way on the box and slipped off, and the weight, when he fell down, he had the weight still on his shoulders.
Fell to a seated position, and the weight just pushed his spine forward. He just fell, kind of folded like a suitcase.
His hair was blown, and then when the trainers got down, they tried to pick me up and told me to walk, but I couldn't feel my legs.
What was your fear?
Fear that I wasn't gonna ever get to walk again, or ever get to play football again, or ever get to have kids.
Woods suffered a fracture dislocation of his vertebrae. With no feeling or movement in his right leg, he was airlifted to a hospital in Oklahoma City and rushed into surgery.
After the surgery, they said that they hoped that he could live a normal life without a limb. So football wasn't even in my mind. I was really concerned for Artie just to be able to live a normal life.
I was trying to stay positive about the whole situation, but in the back of my mind, I was real worried about not walking again.
A day and a half after surgery, doctors tested Woods' legs for feeling.
Doctor came in again, asked me could I move my toes, and they kind of wiggled a little bit. So right then and there, I knew I wasn't going to be paralyzed. I knew eventually I would be able to walk again. And I knew if I was going to walk again, I was going to play again.
Woods spent 2 weeks in the hospital learning to walk again, then 4 months in a back brace to heal his spine. He missed the entire 2007 season, then began a grueling rehabilitation, working through last winter and spring, not only to regain his strength, but to restore his dream.
Nothing was greater than his willpower. From day one, he said he wanted to come back and play.
He was cleared in April. for non-contact football activities. In June, he got the final okay that said, you know what, you need to train this summer, you need to train hard, you have no restrictions, and you need to get ready to play football in August.
Wood's journey back toward the field has been longer and harder than most. This season, he fought through a knee injury that limited his playing time and forced him to wait until the 9th game for his moment. One pass for 7 yards. But for Woods and everyone around him, a completion that was really a beginning.
On 2nd and 10, Pate back to pass, throws right side. The pass is caught by Artrell Woods. And listen to this standing ovation for Artrell Woods.
For Artie, it's a culmination of a tremendous amount of adversity. I mean, from the highest high to the lowest low, back to hopefully a tremendous high.
I want to just be another inspirational figure. I want to actually go make plays. I worked hard for a reason. I just felt like I was destined to play football. That's why I came back. I felt like it was meant to be.
Woods was the first player nominated for the Orange Bowl Courage Award. Voted on by the college football writers, it goes to the player who demonstrates the most amount of courage and determination on or off the field. Woods' Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of ABC's Sunday Night Football coverage. Most of the country sees BC take on 19th-ranked Florida State. Oklahoma State takes on Colorado. Coming back, we check in on the NBA and the Blazers, who got their big man back tonight. Would the big man have a big game in his debut? We'll tell you.
I was getting depressed because of all the stress I was feeling at home. Had a poor credit score and the number would haunt me wherever I go. Thought I'd move to a place where my credit could stink and nobody would care. I just wish that somebody had told me that place was a Renaissance fair. FreeCreditReport.com. Tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom. Never mind, they've been singing our songs since we first showed up with our pirate hats on. If you're not into fake sword fights, pointy slippers and green wool tights, take a tip from a knight who knows. FreeCreditReport.com. Let's go!
Offer applies with enrollment in Triple Advantage.
Moving day is here, the most dreaded of days. Packing, unpacking, your mind in a haze. DirecTV knows how stressful moving can be, so we make keeping your entertainment both easy and free. For uninterrupted service of the shows you like best, just leave the dish behind and we'll handle the rest. Simply dial 877-616-MOVE and we'll throw in 3 months of HBO Stars and Showtime for free.
Tom just fell for his best friend, Hannah.
I'm gonna tell her that I'm in love with her.
I'm engaged.
A little too late.
Will you be my maid of honor?
Your maid of honor.
Now, he has to think like a bridesmaid.
How do you expect to be a good mo?
What is a mo?
Maid of honor.
And act like a bridesmaid.
What about this party mix?
That's potpourri.
To win her heart. Patrick Dempsey.
I love you, Hannah.
Maid of Honor. Now on pay-per-view.
Major League Baseball postseason awards. Tampa Bay's Joe Madden finished one vote shy of being a unanimous pick for AL Manager of the Year. After leading the Rays from worst to first in the junior circuit, Madden led Tampa to their first ever pennant. The man Madden replaced as manager in 06 was Lou Piniella. He won the award in the National League. Piniella beat out Charlie Manuel of the Phillies. Piniella, of course, is the Cubs manager, picks up a cool $100,000 for winning the award. Both Madden and Piniella have managed the Rays. This is the third time that the winners have shared a common managerial past. In 06, it was Jim Leland and Joe Girardi who both had stints as the Marlins boss. And in 03, Tony Pena and Jack McKeon had each been employed by the Royals. NBA, the Blazers and the Heat. Greg Oden coming off the bench, that sprained ankle. First quarter, Chris Quinn driving. Greg Oden says not tonight, sending it out of bounds. Moments later, though, Oden offensive rebounding. I'll throw it down, Greg. Throw it down. Make a shot. 27-19 Portland on top. Blazers up 10. Oden struggling at the offensive end here. He up under it. Not getting it done at the offensive end. Just 2 points in 9 minutes. 67-64 in the third. Trailblazers on top that game on ESPN. The game you're watching here on ESPN2 at Central Michigan on top of Northern Illinois, 23-3. Dan Lefevre, a big reason why. Second half after this.
Michelin makes some of the most fuel-efficient tires on the road, so you can take the pump down. Find out how much you can save at MichelinMan.com. Michelin, a better way forward.
College Hoops Tip-Off Marathon begins Monday at midnight as Memphis struts their stuff against UMass. Then, it's nonstop action through the night and all day. At 8 on Tuesday, Game Day's live from Chapel Hill. And at 9, Kentucky versus North Carolina in a primetime showstopper.
13 progressive universities. 6 diverse states. 23 sponsored championships. More than 100 academic All-American athletes. 11 College Hall of Fame coaches. Millions of dedicated fans. One great conference. The Mid-American Conference. The new mark of excellence.
College football primetime presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Getting ready to play second half football. Dan Lefevre has been fantastic thus far. His Central Michigan Chippewas on top of Northern Illinois by a score of 23-3. And Sean, we talked about it. Central Michigan a half game behind Ball State in the MAC West. They need to win this game. So far, they're playing like they need to win this game.
Definitely. You talk about style points in college football. Not only did they win the first half, they did it impressively. They want to send a message to that Ball State team that we're the defending champs, which means we're still the champs until somebody dethrones us.
Dan Lefevre came into the game a little bit nicked up. He's been dealing with an ankle injury. Doesn't look like he's hurt at all.
Yeah, he looks like he's definitely far down the path to recuperating, becoming 100%. He's been so effective running and throwing the football. Northern Illinois has had no answer defensively for the all-star quarterback of Central Michigan.
Total first downs, it's been a blowout. Central Michigan, 19 first downs in the first half, just 3 first downs for Northern Illinois. They scored just 3 points. That's basically the result of a long kickoff return down into the red zone. And an onside kick right out of the chute. And it's going to be Northern Illinois football. Surprised everyone in the house.
And great call by Northern Illinois head coach Jerry Kill. You know you needed to start the second half on and change the momentum of the ball game. And you know, this is the way you do it. You come out, you're aggressive. It's a conference game. You don't have anything to lose. You're down. You got to find a way to keep your ball club back in the game. It's a great way to do it.
Mike Sobel picks up the big bounce, and that's an easy onside kick. They did it to perfection. I guess onside kicks are never easy. They made it look easy, though.
That was one of the easier ones, it seems like. Whenever the kicker can get a good ball, a ball that's high up in there that gives the kicking team a chance to recover before it goes out of bounds, he did a good job, and right there he executed extremely well.
Chandler Harnish, the redshirt freshman, trying to make a big play even bigger. Incomplete, trying to get it to Willie Clark. Let's take a look at tonight's first half stats brought to you by KFC.
And just complete domination by Central Michigan. If you look at the total yards, 336 to 81 third downs, they've completed almost all of them. Northern Illinois completed none. That's why the score is what it is, but that's why you play the whole game, too. A lot of pride and ability still on that Northern Illinois sideline.
Dan Lefevre by himself, almost 3 times as much total offense as Jerry Kill's Northern Illinois Huskies. Remember, this game's so important for Central Michigan. They're just a half game behind Ball State in the MAC West standings. Ball State and Central Michigan will play in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, 7 days from today. A game you can find on ESPN2. The MAC West will be on the line in 7 days. Butch Jones' team 5-0 in conference play. Ball State 6-0.
It'll definitely be a game that will decide the MAC West Division champion. And you know, it's sort of sad that when you have these conferences that you divide the conference into 2 sides, and you know, you look at the West Division of the MAC, and you know, Northern Illinois, Central Michigan, Ball State are all really good football teams.
Harnish wants to throw on 3rd down, completes it underneath, and Reed Cunningham, the tight end's not going to be able to get enough. It's going to bring up a 4th down.
You know, Eric, they are really good football teams, but only one of them is going to get the opportunity to go to the MAC championship game.
Is there a decision here?
Well, I think you're so aggressive coming out, and you got the onside kick, but you're still only down 3 scores, so you don't want to get a Central Michigan offense a short field. I think you punt the ball here and hope that your defense has made the correct adjustments at halftime. But you look at the conference schedule, you know, Western Michigan, Central Michigan, Ball State, those are the 3 best teams in the conference. But only one of them is going to get to go to the conference championship game. And you see the fake right here.
Fake punt, and they're going to get the first down. Coming around the left side, and a bunch more all the way down inside the 30-yard line. That's Marcus Perez. Perez dropped a catchable 3rd down pass in the first quarter, but he makes up for it with a 20-yard run.
And you see, you know, head coach Jerry Kill, he's pulling out all the stops. They're trying to win this football game. You know, what I like about the strategy is, you know what? They're not going to leave anything on the field. If they lose to Central Michigan today, it's not going to be because they were too conservative. They're making a statement in the second half that we still feel like we can win this football game. You open the second half, you have an onside kick and a fake punt. You know, the first time you get a chance to punt, they're here to win.
So the drive continues for Northern Illinois. Harnish spins out of the first tackle and is brought down at the line of scrimmage. Sean, you can make the argument that the 3 best offensive plays for Northern Illinois have come with the special teams unit on the field. There's the 75-yard kickoff return in the first half that led to the field goal, and here in the second half we've already seen a successful onside kick and a successful fake punt.
And you have to give the credit to that Central Michigan defense. Every time their special teams has, you know, showed or allowed the NIU team to make a play, they've stood up and not given up anything but 3 points. So you have to take your hat off to that side of football, Central Michigan.
Into the end zone, pass a little bit too strong for Cedric Fraser. You're noticing it's getting a little bit foggier here, we think. This place is known for having a little bit of fog in the area, but they did blow off fireworks, which is fairly unusual at halftime.
For about 15 minutes at halftime, we had like, I thought it was the 4th of July.
You don't see this very frequently. This is a couple of minutes ago, right at the half. It was actually a really good fireworks show.
And it lasted about 15 minutes.
So 3rd down and 9, trying to keep the drive alive. Harnish hits Snead out of the backfield, who's going to be close to first down yards. He's got it.
And whatever Jerry Kill said to this Northern Illinois team at halftime, they have a different swagger so far in the second half. And they're playing with a different level of emotion, a different level of intensity. And that's what it's going to take to beat Central Michigan, because Central Michigan, the defending MAC champions, a lot of pride on that sideline. They feel disrespected because everybody's talking about Ball State. Central Michigan is trying to let the country know we're the champions until someone beats us.
2-time defending MAC champions, no less. That's the first 3rd down converted all day long for Northern Illinois, and it comes at a big time. Snead lowers the head and picks up 3 yards.
You know, that's Central Michigan front 7 has basically eliminated the rushing attack of Northern Illinois. You know, they've made this team one-dimensional, and I think, you know, Coach Jerry Kill, they're going to have to recognize that and start trying to throw the ball down the field and force those safeties in Central Michigan to back up a little bit, because basically they have 9 people in the box right now. They're outnumbering Northern Illinois.
Is Harnish at that stage in his development where he can challenge the field vertically?
Well, I think in spurts he is, maybe not consistently, but you just have to hope that he's in one of the good spurts.
Caught from behind. Nobody was open, and it's going to be another sack. This time it's Sam Williams, who had an interception back in the first half.
And it's a play-action pass, but the thing is, Eric, when you're not having success running the football, the play-action doesn't work as much. And, you know, I'm sure that Northern Illinois down the field passing and their vertical passing game is predicated on being able to run the football, and they haven't been able to do that. So there's not a lot of respect shown in that secondary of Central Michigan when they run play-action.
A clerical mistake on my part. That was actually a sack by Larry Knight, his first of the year. Into the corner of the end zone, looking for Britt Davis. Pass too strong, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
And you know, when you have a young quarterback, Eric, you always tell him, you know, you can't go broke taking a profit. And right here, he throws. You have the fullback open in the flat on third down for your first down. You know, young quarterbacks have to understand, just because coach calls a corner route by the receiver, if it's not there, get the completion. You can never go broke taking a profit.
I like that. Mike Salerno from Sandburg High School at Orland Park makes his second field goal of the game, a 31-yarder. Illinois would have loved a touchdown. They have to settle for 3. Jerry kills bunch. They do get on the board. And Central Michigan will have the ball when we come back.
In the history of sports, B means a lot of things, but B stands for more than a backcourt, backstretch, or even back-to-back. This B is bigger. To accomplish this B is so mind-boggling that it borders on unbelievable. So brace yourself, because someone is staring down the barrel of history, and only the best of the best of the best can go back to back to back. The dramatic conclusion to the chase for the Sprint Cup, Sunday at 3 Eastern on ABC.
Mom, can we go sit at the kids' table?
Go ahead.
Ladies first.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like
Chrysler Town and Country. Everything you want in a minivan. Everything. Chrysler. Get to your local Chrysler dealer and check out the hundreds of financing options that are now available.
Seat movers. That's what you'd call us. We'd buy seats up in the nosebleeds and then move down. We'd look for no-shows. Who sometimes did show. Soda spillers. That is gonna leave a stain. And then we'd swoop right in for the perfect seats. Hello. And goodbye.
Want great seats? Your City Card could get them. And now, every time you use a participating City Card, you're in it for a chance to go on a 3-city tour with Nickelback. Want the story of a lifetime? Your City Card can help you write it.
I'll go medium, please.
Medium rare.
Medium well.
Oh, I'm going triple.
Taco Bell's new triple steak burrito. Steak, and more grilled marinated steak. There's steak night, then there's triple steak night.
Welcome back, everyone, to DeKalb, Illinois. The Huskies trying to figure something out here in the second half, and special teams, I guess, has been the real positive. They're looking a little bit more. Any chance of a second consecutive onside kick here for the Huskies?
Well, if I'm Central Michigan, I'm alert for everything right now.
On that drive alone, an onside kick for the first down, a fake punt for a 20-yard gain, and they completed their first third down conversion of the game. What they didn't do was try a fake field goal. That would have probably been the ticket.
They needed that one for the trifecta.
All the way back into the end zone. Antonio Brown forced to take a knee. In case you're just joining us, this is what Dan Lefebvre is all about.
And he's been as good as advertised. Like I said, a dual threat from the quarterback position. He's capable of beating you running. He's capable of beating you throwing. But in the spread offense, I think he's exactly what you want from that position. A big kid that can throw the football, but can also beat you running the football. It just creates so many problems defensively when you're trying to scheme against a team like Central Michigan, because the quarterback can do so many things. So you can get everything right, but he has so much ability that he can still make you wrong. As a defense coordinator, extremely frustrating to play teams with this type of quarterback.
Lefebvre starts with a throw. It's complete out to the 25-yard line to Joe Bachheim. Remember, the last time that Central Michigan played, they had to play without their leader, Lefebvre. Dan Lefebvre didn't play at all in their win against Indiana. Instead, the backup quarterback, Brian Brunner, played, threw for close to 500 yards. They beat a Big Ten team. Yet when we talked to the coaching staff, we said, what about Brunner's? You got to get in there, split some time. You had to play him, right? He goes, no, Lefebvre is our guy, and we're seeing why. Another catch by Bachheim gets the first down.
And maybe Brian Brunner can be like Matt Castle. Matt Castle, ran into the same situation when he was at USC, and that he played behind some quarterbacks who are really good. Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart. You still got a chance to go to the next level.
Brunner's got bigger fish to fry. He is a journalism major at Central Michigan, wants to make a living with the pen and the notepad. Going to solve the great riddles of the world. Fifth-year senior from Wisconsin. Lefevre breaks a tackle. Nothing doing at all. Just gets out of dodge at the 35-yard line. College football presented by Cars.com continues Saturday afternoon when Beanie Wells leads the 11th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes against the Illinois Fighting Illini. Ohio State needs to win to keep their Rose Bowl and BCS hopes alive. That's Saturday, noon Eastern on ESPN. Ohio State making the tour through the land of Lincoln last week, blowing the doors off Northwestern and Evanston. Out to the 40-yard line. It'll bring up third down and short. David Bryant, number 4 on the tackles.
And again, one of the things that Dan Lefevre, as good as he is, one of the chinks I see in his arm is when he's running the football, he has to become cognizant of where the defenders are and stop taking so many hits. As a quarterback, your body's just not going to hold up when you get hit every play.
Pass is caught. Brian Anderson. That is now 10 of the last 11 passes completed from Lefevre to his wideouts.
But he's so efficient in this offense. He understands exactly where everyone is. He understands down and distance. He's a unique mixture because he's extremely talented, but he also understands how to manage a football game. And when you have that at quarterback, it's tough to stop an offense.
Ball gets away from Lefevre, picks it up, has a man deep. It's Anderson. Incomplete, but a flag is down. Patrick George on coverage, just trying to play catch-up. May have been too handsy.
And it looks like we're going to get defensive pass interference, but that's one when you go to Brian Anderson and say, you got to catch that. That was meant for the highlight film at the end of the season. Maybe the fog blurred his vision a little bit. It is getting a little foggy.
Pass interference, defense, number 33, penalized 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
And this is one of the advantages, Eric, of having a veteran quarterback. He should have caught the ball, but he didn't catch it. He not only picks the football up, but he understands the route package that they had called, throws a catchable ball, and you get a little pass interference, but boy, you want Brian Anderson to catch that one.
That was a real catchable ball. Should have caught it.
And Eric, it is getting foggy. They shoot these cannons off. Northern Illinois scores. I'm not sure if this is fog or from the cannon, but it's getting tougher and tougher to see.
Lefevre swarmed and brought down. Flag comes down late. May have been a late hit.
Dead ball, personal foul, late hit, number 29, defense, penalized 15 yards, automatic first down.
Pat Schiller, redshirt freshman from Geneva, Illinois, called for the late hit.
First and 10 Chippewas down for the penalty. Ball spotted at the 16-yard line.
And it is getting foggy. Maybe the officials are having a little trouble seeing too, because I didn't see a late hit there at all. And I think Coach Jerry Kill agrees.
Maybe something in the pile. That's now 30 penalty yards already in this drive given up by Northern Illinois. Out in the flat, Antonio Brown pushed out of bounds. Talking that first half about that legendary fog game that was played on this field back in 2006 when Toledo defeated Northern Illinois. We're getting to that stage, Sean. It's starting to get difficult to see.
It definitely is, and you can see the fog descending on the field as we speak.
Design quarterback run. Lefevre to the 9. This was a couple of years ago. Let's compare the fogginess. That's pretty significant. Fog did no good for Garrett Wolf in Northern Illinois. They lost this game 17-13 against Toledo. And we're starting to get that pea soup stuff coming in again.
Well, I think you can see Toledo with those uniforms in the dark room with the lights out. So.
3rd down and 3. 4 receivers in the game for Central Michigan. Lefevre again on the run. Diving forward, it's going to depend on the spot. There's no signal yet. They're going to bring the chains out and see how close this is.
All right, here we go.
Got to come all the way across the field.
And Central Michigan head coach Butch Jones, again, I can't say enough about the job that he's done his 2 years here at Central Michigan. When you think 12-1 in the MAC, and the MAC's a competitive conference, a lot of parity from university to university. I mean, outstanding job so far.
Oh. And Sean, it looks like they're about a piece of barbed wire away from getting the first down, which is appropriate considering that barbed wire was invented here in DeKalb, Illinois.
It was an interesting fact that I learned the other day when I arrived at the Holiday Inn Express. I was given some tidbits.
What's going to happen here? What's the decision here? Central Michigan, they're up by 17. It's a 4th down and inches.
Well, I think it's a no-brainer. You go for it. Your defense, you know, if you're Central Michigan, has been outstanding. So if you don't get it, you feel comfortable that they can negate any offensive, you know, firepower that Northern Illinois has. And I think your quarterback sneak. I think you keep it simple. You allow your all-star quarterback to pick up the first down, you know, by doing the quarterback sneak.
Man, you should drop those plays.
See, I could be a coach, Eric.
Pickup of 2. Lefevre now over 100 yards rushing on the day. And look at this. There actually is a barbed wire museum here in DeKalb. Barbed wire from A to Z.
I didn't know there were different types of barbed wire, are there?
Oh. And barbed wire not the only thing that originates here in DeKalb of note. Cindy Crawford, born here in DeKalb, Illinois.
Eric, you're a wealth of information.
And the local high school, DeKalb High School, their team's nickname when they play sports, the Barbs.
Barbed wire, Barbs. That makes sense.
11th play of this drive coming. Ontario Sneed deep in the backfield behind Lefevre. They give it to him, and he is stoned. DJ Perkle blew that play up from the get-go.
And that's the first time that we've seen Central Michigan in a conventional set to run the football. The majority of the running game has been from the shotgun. This time they're in a 2 tight end set. And this is Northern Illinois' ball game because that's what they see every day in practice from their offense. So if I was Coach Butch Jones, I continue to spread the field and run the ball from the spread formation.
Design quarterback run, Lefevre. Second touchdown of the game for the junior. Dan Lefevre has accounted for all 4 touchdowns for Central Michigan, 2 by air and now 2 by land.
And you continue just to repeat the same things because when you have that dual threat there at quarterback, it's just so difficult to defend because I mean, he's a weapon that it's tough to account for. If I was playing Central Michigan, I would almost go as far as to bring a defensive back into the game and play him at a linebacker position and allow him to be a shadow. Wherever 13 goes, you go. You know, that's how good I think Dan Lefevre is.
12-play drive. They take off 4 minutes and 38 seconds from the clock. And Butch Jones, his team looking good as they try and continue to be unbeaten in MAC play. A win tonight, and they'd be tied with Ball State atop the MAC West.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
This trailer's awesome.
Jack Link's Jerky. Feed your wild side.
Mom, can we go sit at the kids' table?
Go ahead.
Ladies first.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like...
Chrysler Town and Country. Everything you want in a minivan. Everything. Chrysler. Get to your local Chrysler dealer and check out the hundreds of financing options that are now available.
Here at this modern-day watering hole, this urban Serengeti, it's man meets reptile.
So, Lucy, what are you doing?
Just a little online shopping.
You should check out Geico.com, get a free rate quote. If you like what you see, you can buy it online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Cool.
Remarkable. Oh, no. Did you hear something?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Awesome! All right, everybody, before we get going, we got some changes on the RV this year. First off, per Dwight's request, we got a beaded cover for the driver's seat. Thank you, Dwight.
It's better for your back.
Also, after last year's debacle, we've installed a 24-second clock in the bathroom. A nice idea. And finally, by popular demand, drum roll please, hydraulics.
ESPN, your NBA destination for games Wednesdays and Fridays.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Chrysler. The way our vehicles come together is what sets us apart.
For you barbed wire fanatics, it is Joseph Glidden, the man who invented barbed wire. And we're told there's approximately 2,000 different variations of barbed wire. That's a lot of different ways to twist that wire around.
And I guess barbed wire was invented to keep the cows from roaming off your land. Sure.
Comes into use around here. This is about 50 miles away from Chicago, but it's far enough away from Chicago where you can see some farmland. The ball picked up by the up back, who scampers out to about the 47-yard line. Got a name and number. It's Jason Shepler. Shepler got his hands on the football and had a positive gain for Northern Illinois. Some of the best plays for the Huskies have been on special teams so far today.
Outstanding, well-rounded performance so far for the Central Michigan team. I mean, they've been outstanding on defense, completely have taken away Northern Illinois' strength, which is running football. And offensively, everything's been just like clockwork. They're very well prepared in a game that I thought could potentially be a trap game because you have the big game next Wednesday against Ball State.
Harnish with the play fake. It's caught. Matt Simon. He's had a fairly big game. The senior came into the day with only 9 catches on the season, but he's got 3 so far today. That one's 17 yards. Well, that's the big game. On top of the screen, you can see it. 7 days from now in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. It'll be the 14th team in the BCS standings. Ball State trying to go to 11-0 and 7-0 in MAC play against Central Michigan. The winner will take one huge step forward towards winning the MAC West and going to the MAC championship game. Marcus Perez. But, Sean, we talked about it. a little bit in the first half. You think that there's something that's not quite right about having the three best teams in the MAC all play in the same division. We're talking about Ball State, Central Michigan, and Western Michigan.
I do. One of the things that conferences, as they have expanded, they've gone to two divisions. The MAC has a West and an East division, and the way that it has fallen this season is you're going to penalize Ball State, Central Michigan, Western Michigan for being on the wrong part of the conference. And I think that ultimately you don't need two divisions. I know it's scheduling conflicts, you can't play all the teams, but have the two teams with the best record playing your championship game.
Trying to get it out in the flat to Marcus Perez and the senior.
You know, you think there's another conference, you know, a little more national recognition, the Big 12 South. It's the same thing. Texas Tech, Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, all in the same division. So you're going to penalize one of those teams, and Missouri more than likely is going to go from the Big 12 North when they're not better than some of the teams in the South.
Well, I guess you could always say that the teams are like teams. They're lumped together because of where they are located. And of course, you look at the Big 12 South, those are Texas teams and Oklahoma teams. The same is the case in the MAC. You talk about the West, you've got your Michigan schools, you've got Northern Illinois. It's teams of regional interest playing each other and also playing a couple of games against the other division. Harnish on the run out. Picks up a couple of yards.
I still feel, Eric, though, if I'm a conference president, I want my conference championship game to represent the two best teams in the conference. And when you have two divisions and your top four teams are in one division, I don't think that championship game is representative of the two best teams in the conference.
Well, you could make the argument that in the MAC West, those top three teams, Butch Jones' Central Michigan team, also Western Michigan, and also Ball State, they're going to decide it on the field because they're all playing each other in regular season contests before they get to the championship game. 3rd down and 8. Trying to stay on the field. Harnish looking like fever. Maybe a little bit short of that first down. All right, what's the thinking here? It looks like they're not even going to bring the chains out. They're short. 4th and 1. We know they're going to go for it, but what's the play call?
Well, they've shown that they like to get in the I formation and overload one of the sides with a slot receiver and run some type of play action. So I think they probably will stay consistent and try and give Chandler a run-pass option, you know, at quarterback. Going to take a timeout, looks like, and think about it.
Northern Illinois, boy, burns their first timeout. When we come back, biggest play of the game right now for Northern Illinois.
It's time to get more out of your tires. It's time to get Cooper. Because now during Cooper's National Take the Money and Ride event, you'll not only get unbeatable performance, you'll get a $50 rebate by mail when you buy 4 qualifying Cooper tires. Cooper's Take the Money and Ride event. Get your rebate form and all the details at a participating Cooper dealer or at coopertire.com. But do it today. The road and your $50 rebate are waiting.
New discoveries can be found anywhere. In places that are familiar or totally unexplored. At the ends of the earth or beyond. And for 1 week, you'll find them here. One great discovery after another. Expedition Week. 7 nights, starting Sunday at 9. Only on National Geographic.
ESPN College Football Primetime. Mississippi State, Alabama, Saturday at 7:45 Eastern.
The NBA season is here. You can get all the action and excitement with NBA League Pass. This is your complete season pass for only $189 or just 4 payments of $47.25 each. See the top stars and your favorite teams wherever you live on channel 751 through 768. Order now and get the best games, countless moments, and lasting memories. Get NBA League Pass from DirecTV Now for just $189 or 4 payments of $47.25 each. To order, call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directv.com.
No matter where you live, you've got a front row seat to your favorite team with NHL Center Ice. It's the only way to see all of your favorite teams, even if you don't live in their area. Subscribe now and see all the action from wherever you live. Because with NHL Center Ice, every game's a home game. NHL Center Ice, the game lives where you do. To order, call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directtv.com/NHL.
Some pensive fans here at Husky Stadium. Northern Illinois, they need this 4th and 1 to be converted. Just like you called it, Sean. Quarterback keeper and Harnish gets the first down. Pickup of 3, and now an unusual stat coming your way. Northern Illinois, they've completed 2 4th down conversions. They've only completed 1 3rd down conversion the entire game. They're 1 for 10 on 3rd down, 2 for 2 on 4th.
Well, that's a stat that generally leads to losses. They look a little better. They're a little more efficient, on 3rd down. Maybe next time they just skip 3rd down and go straight to 4th.
Is time an issue to you at all right now for Northern Illinois? They're down 24. They don't seem to be in much of a hurry.
Well, more of an issue is the ability to stop Central Michigan. They haven't been able to do that all game. So if they don't do that, it's not really going to matter.
The pass too strong. Connor Flahey has it go through the hands.
And this offseason, one of the things that Chandler Harnish really has to work on is his accuracy. As we talked to him yesterday, I said, accurate quarterbacks are able to focus. They're able to pick out small things and pinpoint their passes every time they throw the football. And right there, you have a fullback in the flat. You have to give him a catchable ball. He's not used to catching the ball. You can't throw the ball behind him where he has to turn around and try and make that catch. And he has to work on that this offseason for this offense to reach its full potential next year.
Harnish keeps it. Cuts it back inside the 5, down to the 3 before Tim Brazil tackles him.
Because he shows flashes, Eric, of being a dual-threat quarterback. He has athletic ability. He has a good arm. So if he continues to mature, become a better player, gets better over this offseason, this Northern Illinois offense will be okay. He returns Miko Brown, who's a freshman at running back, Chad Spann, who's a sophomore. So they have guys coming back.
They give him the first down. It's 1st and goal, ball in the 3. Northern Illinois has been in the red zone twice. They've had to settle for field goals. Spann. Tim Brazil, another stop.
And there's a little pride in the Central Michigan defense. They haven't given up a touchdown today, and I'm sure they'd like to get on the bus and head back to their campus not having given up a touchdown.
Yeah, this is a good outing for the Chippewas. Came into the game 81st in the country in points allowed per game at 28. They've only allowed 6, almost through 3 quarters. Getting up ready for the 10th play of this drive.
And I would imagine you get a little play action pass right here on 2nd down. And see if we can suck those linebackers in, maybe get a tight end behind them for a corner route.
Oh. Harnish keeps it himself. Touchdown. Good play fake to the tailback going through, and Harnish kept it himself and waltzes into the end zone.
That's a form of play action. I think you play action run is what you would call that. But you want to try and get the defensive line keyed on that running back, Miko Brown, and find a way to get someone around the corner. And they were able to do that. Great job right here by the quarterback. Great play action fake, great ball handling. That's what sucked that defense in so he can get outside on the edge.
All right, now down by 18 points. Northern Illinois, they're going to go for 2 and try and make it a 2-possession game. If they can cut it down to 16, then they're just 2 touchdowns and 2 more extra 2-point conversions away from tying.
Well, when you've had an onside kick and a fake punt already in the 3rd quarter, why not go for 2?
And here comes the cannon smoke rolling in before the play. A flag comes down.
Snap infraction. Number 50, offense, penalized 5 yards. Remains tried out.
And that's a big play right there because this impacts, I think the play call. It's more difficult now. Instead of 4 yards for, a 2-point conversion, now you have 8 or 9. So, but, Coach Jerry Kill's confident with the play that he has called. This is something that you work on all week in practice, is you have a 2-point package, a set of plays that you use in this situation.
Harnish running out of time. Lobs it back in the end zone. Man wide open. Davis Two-point conversion is good. Took a while, but finally, Northern Illinois gets themselves a touchdown and a two-point conversion.
And this is what you want from your quarterback. When you roll him out, you want him to be patient. The longer you keep the ball, the more likely that defense starts to come up and try and take away the run. And when they do that, sometimes they leave receivers open in the back of the end zone. And good job by Chandler finding his wide receiver and giving him a very catchable pass to Britt Davis.
College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels continues Saturday night. Alabama alum Sylvester Croom, he has owned his alma mater, Alabama. He has won each of the last 2 times his Mississippi State Bulldogs have taken on the Crimson Tide. They'll try and make it 3 in a row Saturday night at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN.
Now that would be the upset of upsets. If Sylvester Croom's able to go into Tuscaloosa and defeat the Crimson Tide. But he has done it the last 2 years, like you said. You know, I found when you lose to an opponent the year before, though, it's a lot easier for the head coach to get the guys motivated when they come to town the next year.
Another onside kick, and Northern Illinois, they've done it twice today. Twice in a quarter, they've recovered onside kicks. Man.
And Eric, to me, that's disappointing because, you know, as a special teams coach, you have to understand that Northern Illinois is pulling out all the stops in the second half, and they didn't make any adjustments on their kick return team. You know, still have not moved that second level of returners up, you know, to compensate for the onside kick. And, you know, you like to be able to make that adjustment and not have that happen twice.
Jay Sawbell, the special teams coach for Northern Illinois, he needs a raise. He's been the best thing about this entire game. Mike Sobel has recovered 2 onside kicks. And we actually had a chance to talk briefly with Jay Sawbell, the special teams coach, yesterday, and he kind of muttered, look out, we're going to do something special. And lo and behold, 2 onside kicks have been recovered for his Huskies.
And the execution of both onside kicks has been outstanding. But again, I think it's more a lack of adjustment on the Central Michigan side. You know, you have to adjust when they convert the first onside kick. You have to be under the assumption that they're going to onside again. And if they kick it deep, then you're willing to deal with that.
Final minute of the third quarter. Northern Illinois' offense seems to run a little bit better in the fog. Harnish, nowhere to go. Brought down by Matt Burning. Now let's go back to the studio for a Sports Center right now.
I'm Ryan Burr with your Sports Center right now. North Carolina Hoops coach Roy Williams says the reigning National Player of the Year, Tyler Hansborough, extremely doubtful to play this weekend season opener against Penn. He's been out 2 weeks with a stress reaction in his right shin. Baseball awards. Tampa Bay's Joe Madden finished 1 vote shy of being the unanimous pick for AL Manager of the Year. Lou Piniella gets the honor with the Cubs in the NL. Sports Center after our game on ESPN2.
Third down and 15. This will be the final play of the third quarter. Harnish has his man, Greg Turner, the first down, and Northern Illinois, they'll be able to stay on the field offensively. They needed 14, they got 25. All right, we'll take a timeout. We come back. The fourth quarter coming your way from DeKalb.
The dramatic conclusion to the chase for the Sprint Cup, Sunday at 3 Eastern on ABC.
Mom, can we go sit at the kids' table?
Go ahead.
Ladies first.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like...
Chrysler Town and Country. Everything you want in a minivan. Everything.
Chrysler. Get to your local Chrysler dealer and check out the hundreds of financing options that are now available.
Me? I'm fast. That's why I use the BlackBerry Bold with AT&T 3G speed. I can surf the internet fast, download attachments fast, and send them to my colleagues fast. Excuse me for a sec. It's good to be fast!
Only AT&T has the new BlackBerry Bold, the fastest BlackBerry ever. Only on the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T.
Okay, you slackers, layabouts, you bench warmers, late bloomers, couch potatoes, no-shows, dawdlers, procrastinators. Introducing the Extreme Energy 6-Hour Shot, your worst enemy. Contained in this little bottle is the will to take the dog for a walk, pick up last year's dry cleaning, even show up for work. Extreme Energy 6-Hour Shot. Feats of superhuman endeavor in a bottle. Get it, and get it in gear.
Get yours at stores everywhere.
Favorite part of my body is definitely my abs, and that's the best part.
The secret weapon to sculpted abs is this small ball, the Bender Ball, developed by master trainer Leslie Bender.
What you see in the gym is people are just doing a gazillion crunches, and they don't know why they're not getting results. With a regular crunch on the floor, you're limited. With a Bender Ball, you're getting extension and flexion.
It cranks up the intensity and targets the muscles you want to give you a workout that's up to 408% more effective than ordinary crunches for only $19.99. You can have the incredible Bender Ball and Leslie's amazing video. But it gets even better. Call now and you can get this amazing program for only $9.99. Plus, we'll include a bonus video, the Bender Method Buns and Thighs, your free gift just for ordering.
I would never go back to regular crunches.
Call 1-800-618-9986. That's 1-800-618-9986.
Across Canada in 11 months, raising $14 million to fight heart disease. He covered over 5,000 miles, averaging about 100
What? Nothing.
miles.
ESPN, your NBA destination for games Wednesdays and Fridays.
Find out when the final Week 7 store as the fight for a championship intensifies. Saturday Night Football on ABC. Boston College, Florida State, or Oklahoma State, Colorado. Saturday at 8 Eastern. College football lives here.
Well, that third quarter, pretty darn good for Northern Illinois. They score 11 points, a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal, and they've made this just a two-possession game. They trail Central Michigan by 16 with 15 minutes remaining. First down at 10. Harnish wants to throw. Flag comes down. Matt Simon may have been grabbed on his way to the football. It was Vince Agnew on the coverage. Flag is indeed against Central Michigan.
Pass interference. Defense, number 22, penalized 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And as the ball's in there, there's a little contact there. I'm not sure that there's enough to constitute pass interference, but when you have a safety matched up in the middle like that, you want him to turn and find the football.
Fog continues to roll in here to Husky Stadium. This is definitely the thickest it's been so far today. Harnish, quick trigger, has a man inside the 5, down to the 2. Matt Simon, his best game of this season. Pickup of 21.
And this is an outstanding job, Eric, of the young quarterback. You can tell he's in a groove right here. He gets back, he sees what he's supposed to throw at. He throws a confident ball, throws a catchable ball. Great route by Matt Simon. Now you're first and goal, Northern Illinois. They're a touchdown, 2-point conversion from being one score and being right back in this ball game.
There's something about Central Michigan that Matt Simon likes. He had 9 catches for over 200 yards against the Chippewas last year. So far today, 4 catches. Already for Simon. Chad Spann fighting for yards. Not going to get to the end line. Nick Valor with the tackle.
Tackle by Burning. Gain of 1 on the play.
One thing that Northern Illinois is doing here in the second half, because of those onside kicks and the fake punt, they are dominating Central Michigan time of possession.
Because Northern Illinois still has not stopped Central Michigan's offense, but because of the special teams play, the onside kicks, the fake punts, they've limited the amount of time on the field that offense has had.
Touchdown, Chad Spann. And now you'd imagine the Huskies will go for two once again.
And great job by the offensive line of creating some space for Chad Spann. You know, early in the game, it seemed as though Central Michigan was dominating the line of scrimmage, but that big Northern Illinois offensive line may be taking its toll now as they're starting to create some holes for the running game.
Second touchdown in the last 2 minutes and 41 seconds for Jerry Killsbunch. It all began with a successful onside kick.
And if you notice, Northern Illinois in this two-point conversion has placed the football all the way on the left hash. And what they've done consistently is rolled Chandler Harnish to the right. So if I'm Central Michigan, I want to definitely get someone off the edge and try and prevent him from rolling to his right.
Harnish fumbles the snap. This is a disaster from the get-go. Ball still live. Chad Spann is brought down at the 15-yard line.
Point after is no good.
Harnish may have taken the eyes off that snap, and the play was doomed from the get-go. Well, the touchdown run, Chad Spann, makes this a 10-point game with plenty of time remaining.
Try Chick-fil-A's new peppermint chocolate chip milkshake, available only for the holidays.
I got $583 from cashforgold.com. All I did was look through my drawer full of jewelry that I never wear.
Turn your unwanted or broken jewelry, gold, silver, platinum, rings, chains, and bracelets into cold hard cash from cashforgold.com.
I had no idea my gold jewelry was worth so much money.
With gold, silver, and platinum at their highest value in decades, cashforgold.com is able to give you top dollar for your unwanted jewelry. And because we own our refinery, we can cut out the middleman, which means more cash in your pocket.
I sent in my diamond wedding band from my first marriage and got money the very next day.
Just call the number below and ask for your free, prepaid, insured refiner's return pack. Fill the envelope with your unwanted or broken gold, silver, and platinum jewelry and mail it to our processing center. A safe, reliable transaction with satisfaction guaranteed.
Call 1-800-970-6985. Call now.
What's this guy doing?
I can't get through the gate. The gate is narrow.
Unbelievable.
All right, hey, what do you want me to do? Just back up. I'm stuck.
Time now for our Jack Link's Beef Jerky Wild Play of the Week, and it happened on Saturday in Iowa City. Iowa Hawkeye kicker Daniel Murray, his first made field goal since the season opener, and it dashes the BCS title game hopes of Penn State. The Nittany Lions lose by 1 in Iowa City.
You know, Kirk Ferentz, outstanding job by him and that Iowa Hawkeye team. Their running back, Sean Green, having an outstanding season. You know, have to be disappointed, you know, if you're a Penn State fan. Very disappointing for them to go in and have an opportunity many times in that game to put the game away and just not able to do it.
Will Mike Salerno try an onside kick again? They've already converted 2 onside kicks in this half alone. Antonio Brown with the return, and Brown gang tackled at about the 23-yard line. 17 yards on the return. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines continues with regional action on ABC. Most of the country will see Boston College take on Florida State. The rest of the country will see Oklahoma State in Colorado. That's Saturday night at 8 Eastern on ABC. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
And that's the correct adjustment for the kick return unit in Central Michigan. You have to get in your onside return scheme. You have to line up and prevent Northern Illinois from getting the possession of football again.
The give goes.
Because your offense has proven that they have Northern Illinois' defense's number tonight. They have not been able to stop the Central Michigan attack. So you have to make sure and ensure that they get back on the field and, help maintain this league, which is shrinking, quickly.
Yeah, for Central Michigan, the problem hasn't been with their offense. It's just been getting their ball to the offense. Brian Schroeder in the backfield along with Lefevre. He's got it. Brought down at the 30-yard line, Larry English for a loss of 4. English has been doing that for 4 years in these parts.
And we haven't called his name a lot, but one of the things that offenses have done this year against Northern Illinois is they've said, you know what? Larry English isn't going to disrupt their offense. We're going to double team him. We're going to put a tight end on him. We're going to have our running back chip him. Teams have done a lot of things to negate his ability to make plays.
And a whistle before the snap.
False start. Number 1, offense, penalized 5 yards, remains second down.
The receiver, Keto Pobla, called for that infraction, and Larry English has had a great career here in DeKalb. Look at those NCAA ranks. These are career numbers. Tops in sack yards, tackles for loss yards, second in sacks. It's impressive.
And I was in Indianapolis with the coach for a short period of time, Eric, and he reminds me of Robert Mathis a lot. Undersized a little bit, but makes up for it with athleticism, with desire.
There he is on that tackle as well.
With his willingness to learn the trade. He said one of the things that he's been working on for the past year is trying to perfect Dwight Freeney's spin move. And it's something that he's working on. He says he's getting better and better at it.
So English is perfecting playing with a little bit of English, a little bit of spin.
He is. One of the things that's difficult for him, Lewis, if you see that right hand is in a cast, and he's playing with 6 pins in his right thumb. So he's not 100%, but he's out there, hasn't missed the game.
Third down in a bunch. Call it 3rd and 16. Lefevre, pocket collapses. He goes down. It's that man again. Larry English flat out dominated that series defensively for Northern Illinois.
Your big-time players have to make big-time plays in big situations in the game. If you see right here, fights through not only the left tackle, but the chip block from the running back. He's decided, I'm going to try and take this ball game over. I'm going to try and be the difference maker down the stretch and get us and will us to victory.
English with the spin move, using that English, picking up a sack. He's now got 5.5 sacks on the year. Northern Illinois, they've got momentum, and they're going to get the football. Miko Brown gets away from it, and it's going to be down close to the 20-yard line. 54 yards on that punt, no return. So a positive play for Central Michigan. That's something they need, because right now, Larry English is single-handedly giving momentum to the Huskies.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
5 feet from the hole, right here.
Hey, big fella, want a cold one? Yeah, that's it. Come on, you can do it.
Jack Link's Jerky. Feed your wild side.
Mark, we have teams on both coasts that are interested, but Milos only wants to play for Dallas. Milos really wants to play for Brussels. Milos only wants to play for Shanghai. Buenos Aires. Frankfurt. Paris.
Milos really wants to play for Rome.
How's your Japanese? We know why you fly.
We're American Airlines.
Awesome!
What are you building, Stock?
I'm working on something big. Yeah, I can fly. I just finally know what I have to do.
Iron Man.
The DirecTV Rewards Visa Card delivers more DirecTV for less. Turn your everyday purchases into discounts on our exclusive sports packages, your favorite premium movie channels, or state-of-the-art HD DVRs. Apply today and you'll get $5 off your monthly DirecTV bill for a full year. There's simply no limit to the DirecTV Rewards Visa Card. Call now and let the savings begin.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side.
Just down the road here in DeKalb, these are some vintage cars that you can find if you happen to go to the Barbed Wire Museum. These vintage cars owned by one of the inventors of barbed wire.
You can save on gas money.
Right now, you need to throw a barbed wire fence around Northern Illinois if you're Central Michigan. Central Michigan is just getting gashed by Northern Illinois. It's Northern Illinois playing with momentum, not the Chippewas, who need to win to keep pace atop the MAC West with Ball State.
Well, like I alluded to earlier, there's a lot of pride and ability on that Northern Illinois sideline. And, you know, they're going to defend their home turf. You know, they're not just going to roll over and allow Central Michigan to come in and get an easy victory. If Central Michigan wins tonight, they're going to have earned it.
A tip of the cap to Jerry Kill, head coach in his first year with Northern Illinois. He did not have momentum on his side coming out of the locker room, but he snatched it away from Central Michigan with that onside kick to begin the third quarter.
It's taken a very aggressive approach in the second half, and it's worked out.
Harnish wants a bunch, has a man. It's complete. Marcus Perez with the grab. .39 yards on the pitch and catch.
And I like the location of the throw by Chandler Harnish. You know, he sees the defensive back playing far to the inside, so he throws the ball to the outside shoulder of his receiver, away from the defender. Outstanding job by a young quarterback of recognizing the coverage and throwing away from it.
Northern Illinois, their longest play from scrimmage so far today, 39 yards. Remember, it was 30-6 with 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. It has been all Northern Illinois since then. Harnish wants more. It's caught by Simon. And Simon says first down for the Huskies inside the 20.
And maybe we're seeing a young quarterback grow right before our eyes. You can just see that he's playing with a different demeanor in the second half. He's much more confident in what he's doing. He's throwing the ball with authority. He's still not as accurate as I would like, but he's complete in passes, so you can never argue with completion.
Sean, do you see Central Michigan playing differently now than they were playing in the first half?
I just think Northern Illinois is stepping up. They're playing with a different intensity, and they're making plays.
Little option. Nico Brown dropped behind the line of scrimmage.
You know, I think you can exploit this Central Michigan secondary. They don't seem to have great ball skills. They don't seem to have the ability to adjust to the football when it's in the air. So if you're the offensive coordinator in Northern Illinois, you have to take advantage of that. Throw the football down the field. Force those corners and safeties to show you that they can make plays on the ball, because so far they've been incapable of doing it.
Northern Illinois, 5-4 on the season, 4-2 in MAC play. Harnish, the pass is complete. The tight end, Reed Cunningham, barrels down to the 5-yard line.
And ever since the Fogs rolled into the stadium, it's been a different Northern Illinois team. We went to halftime, they set off all the fireworks, and the Fogs followed it. And this is a resurgent, different Northern Illinois team that was here in the first half.
In case you're wondering, we're getting a little bit different angle than we normally get in a college football game. We're a little bit tighter with our cameras. The fog is coming in, and so we need to get as tight as possible to the action. Some of the wider shots just can't really see what's going on with all this fog. It's here at Husky Stadium. 3rd and 1. Little power football, and the Huskies looks like they have enough. Chad Spann lowers the shoulder pads, and it's going to be a fresh set of downs for the Huskies. Chippewa players slow to get up. Yeah, that's one of the safeties, Eric Fraser, junior from Burnaby, British Columbia. He just got right there in the thick of things, trying to stop a 3rd and 1.
And if you see right now, here's Fraser as this pile incurs, and it seems to be to his lower extremity, and you see his own players blocked actually into the back of his leg, and you hate to see that.
That's what they're looking at. And Central Michigan cannot afford to have any injuries in that defensive backfield. They've already had a difficult time keeping guys healthy in the secondary. And next week, remember, they got that game against Nate Davis and Ball State, who they can light up the sky with their passing game. They need all hands on deck.
And you hope the young man's okay. But one of the things that's also working against, this Central Michigan defense is the amount of time they've been on the field in the second half. Northern Illinois leads the time possession by almost 8 minutes. And when you're already not deep, as far as personnel goes defensively, and that defense is forced to play a lot of minutes, fatigue starts to set in. And when fatigue sets in, you make mistakes, injuries happen, and different things go wrong. So they have to find a way to get off the field. They've been, had 11 injuries this season, and it's tough to overcome that.
First down and goal, ball in the 3. Harnish looks to the end zone. Looking for his tight end, Cunningham, and I think he didn't like his odds and just threw it away. Harnish has been a different quarterback here in the second half. In the first half, he had 52 yards passing. Here in the second half, 163 yards passing.
He's definitely become a different player in the second half. And, one of the things that as Northern Illinois continues to improve and grow offensively is I want to see them give Harnish more options down in this area. Only had 2 receivers in the route, so the defense is in the right coverage. Don't have a lot of options. I'd like to see them get 4 or 5 guys out and allow the young quarterback more people to throw the football to.
They give it to Chad Spann, and Spann a touchdown. If you joined us in the first half, it was all Central Michigan, but the tables have been turned here in the second half. It has been all NIU, their 3rd touchdown in the last 8 minutes and 47 seconds. And now trailing by 4, they're just going to go for 1. Mike Salerno will come on for the extra point. And it's good. And just like that, it's a 3-point game in DeKalb. Northern Illinois, their defense will come back on the field trying to keep the momentum with the Huskies.
Michelin makes some of the most fuel-efficient tires on the road, so you can take the pump down. Find out how much you can save at MichelinMan.com. Michelin, a better way forward.
Well, are you gonna go for it?
This is crazy, this is crazy, this is crazy.
No, crazy is not connecting your new flat screen to DirecTV. Clark switched, and now he gets all his favorite channels in HD.
I'm in deep.
A man with that much HD is such a turn on.
Get the most TV for the money. And now, lock in your price until 2010. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
Once upon a time, people worried about the things they loved. Until something wonderful arrived.
We're gonna need a bigger umbrella.
Now, they don't have to worry any longer. For auto, home, and business, Travelers.
Here's Blanco, the shot, rebound, Rolf, goal, Chicago.
Blanco fuels Chicago against a Columbus side contending for their first ever MLS Cup. Eastern Conference Final, Thursday at 7:30 on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes.
In the history of sports, B means a lot of things, but B stands for more than a backcourt, backstretch, or even back-to-back. This B is bigger. To accomplish this B is so mind-boggling that it borders on unbelievable. So brace yourself, because someone is staring down the barrel of history, and only the best of the best of the best can go back to back to back. The dramatic conclusion to the chase for the Sprint Cup, Sunday at 3 Eastern on ABC.
Northern Illinois has battled back from the depths, and they trail Central Michigan by just 3, with about half of this fourth quarter remaining. Butch Jones's team, this has been a house of horrors here at Husky Stadium over the years. They haven't won in DeKalb since 1977. 0-8 in their last 8 trips here to Northern. Antonio Brown, not much blocking in front of him. Remember, Central Michigan worried about another onside kick. And it's going to be ball at the 23-yard line for the Chippewas. And Sean, we just got to get to the bottom of this. What's going on with Central Michigan? It's a totally different club now.
Well, Northern Illinois has come out the second half, and they're a different ball club. They're at home. They're defending their home turf. I think the tide of the game changed when Central Michigan did not make the adjustment on the second onside kick. They were in a regular kick return package, and it ultimately seems to have bitten them. Now they're in a dogfight.
Yeah, we talked about it. Central Michigan, they've got a huge game next week. 7 days from now, next Wednesday, a home game against Ball State with the MAC West title on the line. That game is on ESPN2. Maybe they're thinking ahead to that game because right now they sure aren't into this game right now mentally. Keto Pobla with the catch on first down. Coming up next, Sports Center coming your way. Neil Everett and Carl Ravitch will have Sports Center immediately following this game. But still a lot to be decided here from DeKalb.
But Eric, this is where having a Dan Lefevre, this is where that gives you some comfort. You do have a guy behind center at quarterback who you want in this situation. This is where he generally rises up and raises his level of play to meet the occasion.
Lefevre hands it off to Ontario Sneed, who's down after a pickup of 2. Last drive for Central Michigan was absolutely owned by Larry English defensively.
Well, as good as Dan Lefevre is, Northern Illinois has their own superstar, and he's Larry English. He played a big role last time Central Michigan had the football, disrupting plays in the backfield, in the running game, and in the passing game. And Central Michigan, I'm sure, made some adjustments in between series on the sideline. We have to find 51 and get him blocked.
5 receivers in the game for Central Michigan. Caught underneath by Brown. And Brown escapes a tackler and is still going to be short of the first down. That'll bring up a 3rd down and short.
Nice pitch and catch right there by Dan Lefevre and Antonio Brown, but you still want to see that wide receiver get north and south right there, Eric. You know, you don't want to go east and west on those kind of quick 3-step passes. You want to catch the football, get north and south.
The fog is at its thickest right now. Lefebvre designed quarterback run, and he's going to be close. Sean, how big of a deal is this for the guys in the field in terms of this fog that's rolling into Husky Stadium?
Well, I think it impacts the offense tremendously when it comes to the passing game. It's difficult for the receivers to pick up the football. Defensively, I think it causes problems when the offense has good ball handling, because as a safety, as a linebacker, it's hard sometimes, I think, to see who has the football.
Justin Hoskins now into the game in the backfield wearing number 3 for Central Michigan. Lefebvre keeps it himself, and Lefebvre dives close to 48-yard line to pick up a 4.
And you talk about big drives in the course of a season. For Central Michigan, this is the most important drive of their season. They need to go down and make this a 2-score game.
Lefebvre gets it to Brown out of the backfield, and Brown close to the first down marker.
But if you're NIU, you like nothing better than to play spoiler. You're unable to get it done last week against Ball State, but you like nothing better than to come back and upset Central Michigan and prevent them from having the upper hand next week against Ball State, which, by the way, is at home. It's a home game for Central Michigan.
Lefebvre has not missed on a pass here in the second half, but he doesn't have big yardage. Central Michigan hasn't had the football very much here in the second half. 3rd down and 1. Will Lefebvre keep it himself? You know what's coming, don't you, Sean?
You know what's coming, but you still have to stop it. And, you know, Dan Lefebvre just continues to impress me more and more. You know, a lot of times right there, a quarterback in that situation won't have the patience to allow that play to develop. He wanted to initially go right. It wasn't there. Had the patience, had the wherewithal to cut back and get the necessary yardage for first down.
Lefebvre playing in front of a lot of friendly faces. He's from Downers Grove, Illinois, western suburb of Chicago, about 35 miles away from DeKalb. Hand off to Hoskins, his first run of the night. This is what it's all about. Mac West boiling down to this. Yesterday, Ball State a winner over Miami. They're 6-0 in conference. Central Michigan with a win tonight. They would equal that mark. Ball State and Central Michigan will play next Wednesday in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Western Michigan is still a very good club. Western Michigan has a date with Ball State a couple of weeks down the road.
Western Michigan has already been defeated by Central, so ultimately Central Michigan controls their destiny.
They set up a bubble screen to Brown, and he is brought down at the 40-yard line.
For Central Michigan, this drive has done 2 things, though. Because they've been able to get a couple first down, it's eaten up the clock. And now you're getting to that point where even if Northern Illinois gets the football back, you're going to put a young redshirt freshman quarterback in a situation where he has to execute a 2-minute offense.
One of the longest drives of the night. 4 minutes and 40 seconds already have come off the clock. 3rd down and 6. Incomplete, looking for Brian Anderson. Defense on the play. Brandon Weiss in the picture. Patrick George involved as well. And now what's the decision?
Outstanding play right here by the cornerback. You know, what he does is he might have gotten there a little early, might have gotten away with a little pass interference, but it's really foggy, so you probably can't see it. It is deflected, so there is no pass interference. Well, maybe not deflected, but you still expect your big-time receiver, all-time leader at your school in receiving yards to come in with that catch, but you have to give the cornerback credit. Did a good job of making a difficult catch.
Brett Hartman to punt it away. And the fair catch is not made for. The ball sails over the head of the returner and into the end zone. It'll be ball on the 20-yard line. A 40-yard punt with just a net of 20 after the touchback. College football primetime presented by Applebee's continues tomorrow night on ESPN as Frank Beamer's Virginia Tech Hokies control their own destiny in the race for the ACC Coastal title. They take on the Miami Hurricanes. That's tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. It's a three-dog night here in DeKalb.
And Eric, it's amazing. These conference rivalry games, they always come down to the end of the football game. And now we get a chance to see Ken Chandler Harness emerge into the national scene right before our eyes.
Down by 3, 2.5 remaining. Harnish pass is complete. Reed Cunningham, the tight end, out close to the 30. What's going through Harnish's head right now as he's leading this drive?
He's excited. He's already started answering the questions in the post-game press conference because he wants to lead his team, not to a field goal right here. He wants to lead them down the field to the winning touchdown drive. As a redshirt freshman, that'd be an outstanding accomplishment. You just don't expect that type of composure from a young quarterback.
Harnish tucks it under and keeps it himself. Out to the 35-yard line. It's going to be up for a first down. Clock will stop as they move the sticks. Northern Illinois still with 2 timeouts remaining. At the 45-yard line. Marcus Perez has had a day and a half. He's made a lot of big catches.
And the important thing is these are first down catches, so that clock's going to stop until they're able to reset the chains. So there's not a lot of time being drained off the clock.
Clock moving again. Harnish. Incomplete. Looking for Cunningham again. That would have crossed the midfield stripe, but instead it's 2nd and 10.
And Eric, it's ironic. Sometimes the incompletion is not the worst thing. If you're one of those receivers from Northern Illinois right now, you needed a little break. You know, get your breath, get your composure, get in that huddle, you know, take a couple of deep breaths because you're going to have to eventually get down the field.
For Chandler Harnish and Northern Illinois, what seems to be available? What's Central Michigan giving them right now?
Well, it seems like all the underneath routes are there, and because they're only down 3, it's nothing wrong with taking those underneath routes and continually moving the team closer and closer to field goal range.
Harnish under duress goes down. Didn't want that at all. Tradale Kennedy with the sack. Frank Zombo also getting pressure. But it was Kennedy who's credited with the sack and a loss of 8. Clock continues to move. Northern not choosing to use a timeout. Harnish deep. Incomplete, looking for Perez. Would have been a circus grab. All right, no reason not to call a timeout, you'd imagine, if you're Northern Illinois.
And this is a good job of giving his wide receiver an opportunity to make the catch, and boy, that's close. That's one that you'd hope Marcus Perez, you know, would pull in. Actually, great ball placement again, you know, by Chandler Harness. And if you're the secondary coach of Central Michigan, again, you're disappointed in the inability of your cornerbacks to play the football in the air. They have not done a good job of that tonight, and you know, fortunately for them, unfortunately for the Northern Illinois faithful, Perez just didn't hold on to the football. But I've been impressed with Chandler Harness and how he's come back the second half and morphed into a different player. He's made a lot of plays in the second half. I mean, he's been an integral part of this team's ability to come back and get back in this ball game. And when you have a young quarterback, you want to see him continue to get better. Aggressive calls on the special teams, giving him a chance to get back into it, and you can build on this. I mean, you can show this tape, you can show your guys what we're capable of doing. You can show your quarterback how good we can be when you play at a certain level.
Jerry Kill's team here in the second half. They've recovered 2 onside kicks. They had a successful fake punt. The offense has been night and day different from the first half. They've already converted 1 4th down here in the second half, converted 2 4th downs so far in today's game. Now they need 4th down conversion number 3, and it's going to be difficult. 4th and 18, what's available here? Throw it up and hope for a miracle?
Well, I mean, because Central Michigan hasn't done a good job of playing the football in the air, I'd still give Perez or one of my wideouts on the outside a chance to make a play on the football. And if we don't complete it, then maybe we get a pass interference.
Timeout is called by Central Michigan. They want to make sure they're in the right defense. .48 ticks remaining before we send you to Sports Center. Coming up right after the game on Sports Center, Kobe Bryant and Chris Paul. How about that? The Lakers and the Hornets. Tony Romo, will he be healthy enough to come back and take on the Washington Redskins? Tony Romo hoping to send a message, maybe already has sent a message to the Redskins. And Jay Billis, oh, it's good to hear Jay Billis' name again. It's college basketball season. When you're talking about Jay Billis, he's got the top 5 players in the country.
And it'll be interesting what Central Michigan does philosophy-wise on this 4th and 18. And a lot of teams, what they do in this issue, they rush 3, they drop everybody in the coverage. I'm not a big believer in that. I would actually bring a linebacker. I would rush 5 people because I want to get some pressure on Chandler Harness. To complete 4th and 18, those receivers have to get down the field. And I want to limit their ability to do that by putting pressure on the quarterback.
All right, here we go. Northern needs to get across the 50 to the 44-yard line. Harnish has a man. Caught! First down!
And Eric,
Matt Simon again with a big play.
And Eric, that's exactly why. When you only rush 3 defenders, it allows the quarterback to step up in the pocket, to find lanes, and the longer that he has the football, the more opportunity his receivers have to get open down the field.
Maybe the best throw of the day for Harnish, and he's going to spike the football to stop the clock. The Huskies still with 1 timeout remaining. There's the place kicker, Mike Salerno. A chance to tie quite possibly if they can't get into the end zone.
And I might not be against using that timeout, depending on what Chandler Harness does his first play, because I just want to reiterate to him that all we need is a field goal. So he doesn't have to be a hero here. Take what they give you and just try and get us into field goal range and give our kicker an opportunity to send the game into overtime.
You're thinking field goal, not touchdown here? If you're Northern Illinois, you're thinking play for the field goal.
And Northern Illinois, you see, they called the timeout because I think Coach Jerry Keel is thinking just like I'm thinking. You just want to make sure that the young quarterback understands that all we need is 10, 12 yards to get into field goal range. If something down the field presents itself, take advantage of it. But the worst thing that can happen is your quarterback gets too aggressive and throws an interception or takes a sack or does something that's going to not allow you a chance to kick a field goal to tie the football game.
Mike Salerno has got a big leg for Northern Illinois. His longest field goal of the season, a 52-yarder. But sometimes the short one's not as easy. Remember, this is the first half, an extra point that he doinked off the upright. If he had made that, obviously ifs and buts, a lot of different things could have happened. But it would be a 2-point game, and a field goal could win it right now. That was actually Central Michigan's kicker. We're getting foggy here with all this foggy weather. That was a Central Michigan miss of the extra point in the first half. Harnish complete. First down and more. Turner down to the 10-yard line. Clock stops with 33 seconds remaining. And without another timeout, Harnish clocks the football.
And who would have thought at 30-6 that we would be in a 30-27 ball game with Northern Illinois having an opportunity to win the football game, not just tie it. I mean, you lose it down because of what you did on first down, but you really have 2 plays to go for the end zone.
Second down, 10.
And I like the corner route coming.
Complete to the tight end. Cunningham with another grab that'll stop the clock as he goes out of bounds. Because they clocked the football on first down, it's now 3rd down and 7.
And if I was Central Michigan head coach Butch Jones, I might even call a timeout here. Pull my defense to the side and make sure that we're in the right play, that we're aligned right for whatever is about to happen.
Northern Illinois, they still could get a first down at the 1-yard line. Harness to the end zone. Incomplete. Willie Clark had it for a moment.
I like the play call, though. Your quarterback's hot right now. Give him a chance to make a play. Actually throws a really good ball. You know, probably wouldn't have come down inbounds, but now you kick the field goal. You have the momentum. You go to overtime, and you try and win it.
Mike Salerno, transfer from Winona State, will attempt a 25-yard field goal to tie it. And they're going to ice him. That timeout called by the Chippewas. Kind of interesting to me that Central Michigan would call a timeout there. There is some time on the clock. After this field goal attempt, they're going to have a chance for a kickoff return and possibly a play or two, but they're now only going to have one timeout to work with.
Well, you have to think they're trying to ice the kicker. They want to give the kicker give him a little time to recollect, maybe on some field goals he's missed in the past, or how important of a field goal this is. Maybe have some nerves creep into it.
Sean, I got the ultimate wild card right now. So far, the second half has been all about the special teams chicanery for Northern Illinois. Is it possible that we would see a fake field goal?
I don't think so. I think because of the way the second half is gone, if you're head coach Jerry Kill, you have to feel like if you can get the game to overtime, that you can actually win the game outright.
It'd be the call of the year if they went for the fake.
Only if they made it.
Snap is good. And we're all tied at 30. 24 unanswered points for the Huskies to tie it at 30. This has all happened in the last 16 minutes. 24 unanswered points for the Huskies.
And we have ourselves a ball game, folks. You like to see that. You like to see young men in situations that are full of pressure and stress step up and execute just like they do in practice every day. And I know it's his first season, here at Northern Illinois, but head coach Jerry Kill's doing an outstanding job, and this team is going to be a team to be reckoned with down the line.
The Huskies with just 2 wins all of last season. After 7 straight winning seasons, they scuffled in the final year to Joe Novak. Coach Novak retired, enjoying life down in the Carolinas right now. And Northern Illinois football back to where Joe Novak would want it, on an uptick under Jerry Kill.
And what's interesting is, Central Michigan has kind of gotten out of character. If you see Northern Illinois outscored them 16-0 in the fourth quarter. Well, the 3 previous games before this, Central Michigan has outscored their opponent 33-7. So that's ultimately what has cost them the opportunity to win this game in regulation, is they couldn't get it done in the fourth quarter. And I think it all goes back to the special teams not making the adjustment on the second onside kick. They were in their regular kick return coverage and allowed Northern Illinois to recover another onside kick, and that's what really gave them the momentum this second half and ultimately got them back into this football game.
Antonio Brown fields this one on the run and stops dead in his tracks. Fair catch called for, and ball's in the 30-yard line. What was that all about?
Well, you don't want to give Antonio Brown an opportunity to beat you. So you kick it high in the air and hope he fair catches it just like he did, and you depend on your defense. 19 seconds. You think Central Michigan probably needs 40 yards to have a chance. I would do exactly what they're doing right now, and that's just take a knee and take it to overtime.
Wow.
Well, because what you don't want to happen, Eric, is you don't want Larry English. You don't want to give him an opportunity, you know, trying to throw the ball down the field. You know how to hold it a little bit to go and create some kind of sack fumble or something.
So, who would have thought that we'd have overtime on a foggy night here in DeKalb? Central Michigan was running away from Northern Illinois with a minute and a half remaining in the third quarter. They were up 30-6. But the Chippewas have spit the bit. The Huskies back in it, 24 unanswered, and we're going to have overtime. We'll catch our breath. Let's go to the studio right now for a Sports Center update.
With Neil Everett, I'm Carl Ravitch. Sports Center follows this overtime. Can't wait to show you what happened between the Celtics and the Hawks. Reminded everybody of that 1988 Game 7 between those two teams when Bird and Dominique were playing.
Yeah, Greg Oden's back after missing 6 games. Portland and Miami. Dwayne Wade did his thing. What kind of thing could Oden do? We got Matthew Barnaby. He's going to tell you what hockey rivalry compares to the Red Sox and Yankees. In the meantime, Carl and I are going to play rock, paper, scissors until the football game finishes.
Dan Lefevre and Central Michigan thought they had this one in the bag. Up 30-6. A little bit remaining in the third quarter. And Northern Illinois all the way back to tie it at 30. We're going to have the coin flip here to decide what happens in overtime.
The winner of the toss can select offense or defense or the end of the field. You call the toss.
Tails. Tails is the call.
It is tails. You've won the toss.
We'll go on defense first.
Like to go on defense? You have your choice at the end of the field. Okay. Turn your backs.
So, Central Michigan, they win the coin toss. They decide to go on defense. Not a surprise there. And this is what you missed if you missed any of the second half for Northern Illinois.
Outstanding adjustments made at halftime by Jerry Kill in this Northern Illinois ball game. Came out aggressive in the special teams, recovered 2 onside kicks, and got back to what they do offensively. Smash mouth, disciplined football, able to make a 24-point deficit evaporate in one half of football.
And Mike Salerno with the field goal to put us into OT. Chandler Harnish, tip of the cap, 167 passing yards in the fourth quarter alone. Can you say coming out party for Mr. Harnish?
Yeah, he's done an outstanding job of taking what the defense gave him in certain instances, and also when he was aggressive, I like the location, the accuracy that he threw the ball down the field with tonight. I see definitely why Jerry Kill is so high on his redshirt freshman quarterback.
So both teams will have a possession starting on the 25-yard line. Northern Illinois, they have the football. 1st and 10. Harnish to the sideline, incomplete. Looking for Britt Davis, knocked away by Taylor Bradley coming up from his corner spot. This game means a whole heck of a lot in the MAC West standings. Remember, with a win today, Central Michigan would have been tied, still undefeated in the MAC West with Ball State. Ball State a winner yesterday to move to 6-0 in conference play. Central Michigan, who will play Ball State next Wednesday on ESPN2, they need to win to get to 6-0 as well. Harnish lobs it in there. And it's intercepted. Intercepted. Josh Gordy with the pickoff, his first of the season, and it comes at an opportune time. That's trouble with a capital T for Northern.
And Central Michigan, defensively, they baited the young quarterback. You know, this corner route has been open all afternoon, but they mixed the coverage up a little bit and played quarters and had the corner drop. If you see, the corner is actually the one that makes that interception. All game long, he stayed in the flat and not gotten back to take this away. Made the adjustment, and the thing that you like as a defensive coach is he catches the football. A lot of times their cornerbacks only knock the football down.
That was one of the few throws we've seen from Harnish that didn't have a lot of steam on it. Tried to finesse it. Now Central Michigan, all they need is a field goal to win and get out of Dodge. Lefevre picks up 1. How aggressive will Central Michigan be here on this possession?
Well, I still think you have to run your offense. You know, you've been so successful the entire ball game offensively. You don't want to change anything. You want to become conservative here and end up having to kick a 35, 40-yard field goal. You want to get as close as possible and, if possible, score the touchdown.
Again, very conservative. Lefevre caught from behind after a pickup of 2. DJ Frickle grabbed him by the ankles. There's the kicker. Andrew Aguila. Aguila, 10 days ago, had his long on the season, a 48-yarder against the Hoosiers.
And because the college hash marks are so wide, Eric, I'm sure this is a play designed to go to the right. So if they do have to kick the field goal, that they can get the football back in the middle of the football field.
It would be a 38-yarder if they don't gain another yard. And they don't. Lefevre caught at the line of scrimmage. And here comes Aguila. And Lefevre hobbling off the field. So it all comes to this. It'll officially be a 40-yarder for Aguila. But before we have an attempt, we have a timeout. Northern Illinois burns the timeout. This is what the Mid-American Conference standings look like as we speak. Ball State, the first 1 to 6 wins. They are a half game ahead of Central Michigan.
Do you think Ball State's pulling for this field goal to be good, or you think they're pulling for it to go wide right or left?
Well, Central Michigan would still control their own destiny. Even if Central Michigan loses this game, they've got to win next week against Ball State. And then they'll own the head-to-head tiebreaker with Ball State.
Well, Central Michigan coach Butch Jones definitely has shown a lot of confidence in his kicker by the sequence of plays that Central Michigan ran. 3 times in a row, you run the quarterback, in the middle of that defense. So they have confidence that he's more than capable of making this field goal.
All right, here we go. Andrew Aguila, a 40-yarder for the win. Central Michigan, they survive against Northern Illinois. It wasn't easy, it wasn't pretty, but it's a win, and they keep pace with Ball State.
And it gets you to next Wednesday, where you have a showdown. Numero uno against the defending champion. Ball State versus Central Michigan next Wednesday night for all the marbles.
How many times do you blow a 24-point lead and still win a football game?
The thing that I do like, Eric, is both kickers stepped up. Northern Illinois' kicker made a kick to send it to overtime, and Central Michigan's made the kick to win the game, and it was right down the middle. And as a kicker, that makes you feel good.
Remember, Sean, it was Aguila who missed the extra point in the first half. That's the reason we're in overtime right now. He got a chance for redemption, and he made it pay.
Once again, the final score, Central Michigan.
So Central Michigan, they dodge a bullet. They live to fight another day. Their season on the line next week. The 2-time defending MAC champ, they will take on Ball State. Ball State and Central Michigan, both a perfect 6-0 in MAC West play. Coming up next, Sports Center over on ESPN News. It's post-game extra. Central Michigan, they win in overtime. For my partner, Sean King, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Eric Collins saying good night from the Cal.
Here's Bargnani driving home. Andrea Bargnani. This is is SportsCenter.
The men under center, the center of attention. Romo warns the Skins. Castle ready to jet. Big Ben sent a message by his head coach. Jay Billis reveals his top 5 college basketball players and why one of them will not be ready for the opener. From the classic matchup of Dominique and Bird to last season's playoff thriller, the Celtics and Hawks pick up right where they left off. And if Kobe's Lakers are to stay perfect, they'll have to stop Chris Paul in his record-setting start. SportsCenter. Greg Oden back for the Trailblazers, Portland and Miami. Oden's been out with a sprained foot, suffered in the team's season opener. He entered the game with about 3 minutes left in the first quarter and told Chris Quinn to talk to the hand. He had 2 blocks and off the offensive rebound. This is Greg Oden's first NBA bucket. NBA fans hope there's plenty more to come. And then Oden's going to block Quan Cook. 2 blocks on the night for the big feller. How's it? Neil Everett here. Carl Ravitch is right over there. Oden said he hoped to play the full game. He's young. We'll have full game highlights with Oden's Blazers and Dwayne Wade's Heat later in this show. But first, a team that almost cooked Boston's goose last season.
I think less than a championship is a failure. It's only one winner. There's no promise you get back to this point. It's all about the ring.
The Cavaliers in round 2.
And as good as last year was, it doesn't come close to the Celtics-Hawks Game 7 showdown from the 87-88 season. That night, Dominique Wilkins scored 47, Larry Bird 34, and 20 came in the fourth quarter alone. Boston won by 2. The present-day comparisons of Bird's big 3 with Paul Pierce's gathered steam last year with that title. The bigger stretch is going Joe Johnson to Dominique, although both did play for the Celtics. Johnson may never win a scoring title like Neek. He hopes to win a championship. What a showdown tonight. 6-0 Hawks, second night in a row on the road. Usually that's fatal, especially in what's a graveyard for them. It's also their first 6-0 start since the 97-98 year when they went 11-0. Garnett had it, couldn't get it to drop. Al Horford is there to block that shot. Horford, unfortunately, foul trouble, sits most of the first half. He ended up with only 5 points in 23 minutes. Ronald Flip Murray was the star. He played college ball at Shaw. You saw that acrobatic layup. Then Mario West finds Murray. The Hawks shot 59% from 3. They were burying everything. He had 12 in the first half, 14 of the game. Then the big 3 take over. Ray Allen driving hard to the hole, getting it to drop, and he gets banged. Celtics down by 7. Allen, 17 of the game. Under a minute to go in only the first half. Rondo, Garnett. They worked that play a few times in this one. Efficient Garnett, 10 of 16 from the field, and Rondo had 10 assists. Atlanta really had nobody to match up with the big number 5. With Horford on the bench, it's 51 all at the half. Pierce drains a 3. He was 3 of 7. Ray Allen was 1 of 9. That was it. They made 4 threes in the game at 69-67. Garnett was special, hustling in the fourth quarter, knocking that ball out to Allen to keep it alive. And then he'll spin off Horford, calling for this alley-oop, firing everybody up. Don't go to sleep yet. It's 92-88. It's not over. Later in the fourth, the Hawks rally behind Johnson, who didn't have a great shooting night, 9 of 23, but when you needed them, they fell. Incredible. Hawks trail by 2. Under 2 to play. Pierce driving past Evans, and that quick first step got him. He got hit on the head, then he hit himself on the head. 99-95. Johnson, a runner in the lane. Ridiculous. It's tied at 99. He had 28 and 7 assists. Hawks down 2. Johnson, baseline. Remember Marvin Williams at Carolina? He took 4 threes tonight, hit them all. It's 102-101 Atlanta. 7.4 to go. The handoff to Pierce, and with 5-10, drains it. Another clutch bucket down the stretch. Celtics by 1. The Hawks got a catch and shoot. When Bibby drops it, it's over. Well, the Hawks are coming, boys. You can hear them knocking. 103-102 as Pierce goes for 34 points and 6 rebounds. Take it full circle. Go back to that playoff game 7 in 88. Bird had 34 in that game. Pierce has 34 in this one. He does most of his damage in the fourth quarter. And you look at the rest of the scoring, spread out pretty well between Garnett and Ray Allen. Perkins contributes 8 rebounds off the bench. Try as they might, the Hawks fall one more time to Paul Pierce and the Celtics.
We've been watching them, and we know from last year in the playoffs that next year coming in, this team is going to be really good. You know, this team is going to be a definite playoff team. They're tough with Joe Johnson leading them, and you know, you can expect big things out of the Hawks. We didn't expect this game to be easy. They play hard. They got their defensive scheme together, and they're going to be a team to mess with in the East.
Hey, a great player hit a great shot, you know, I mean, but I applaud my guys. I mean, they never quit. You know, we got in late this morning, and we came out and competed from the beginning to the end, and I hated the game to end.
That's the beauty of youth. You try to do back-to-back overnight centers, you're not rallying on that second day. But here, the Hawks do. Paul Pierce was incredible and has been the last couple of games for the Celtics in half number 2. He explodes in the final 24 minutes. He scored 50 second-half points and gone 19 of 20 from the free throw line, nearly 60% from the floor as well, including that game winner against Atlanta on Wednesday. They do have the experience, but again, those Hawks are knocking on the door. Jamal Mashburn, what did we learn tonight?
The Atlanta Hawks are a tremendous athletic basketball team, but they just don't do it on the offensive end, led by Joe Johnson. They do it on the defensive end, which has become their calling card, their trademark. They rebound the basketball and they do not turn it over. They're going to be a tough out for some of the Eastern Conference opponents. And let's not forget, they're doing this without one of their star players in Josh Smith. I look for the Atlanta Hawks to go deep into the NBA playoffs.
The Lakers are unbeaten, but New Orleans is the sexy pick to represent the West. Kobe and company have heard all that talk. They're in New Orleans. Kobe, the MVP. Chris Paul, the runner-up of a season ago. Hug. First quarter, Paul, crossover. Good-looking shot. Hornets down 1. Lakers up 4 now. Derek Fisher to Vladimir Radmanovic. To Pau Gasol. Gasol had 14. Bynum had 14. Trevor Ariza had 10. You can see 2 of them right here when Mike James' pass is picked by Lamar Odom, and there's Ariza. Lakers up 11 after 1. They were up 21 at the half, and part of the reason was Peja Stojakovic. He forgot his shot in the locker room.
Oh, boy.
Misses a 3. Misses a mid-range jumper. Another 3. Peja was 0 for 8 in the first half. New Orleans shot 29% on its home court in the first half. Fourth quarter, they're down 16. This game's over. Well, Chris Paul he's scoring, and then he's assisting to James Posey. Paul had 13 assists. It's an 11-point game. Now 9. Paul had 30. It's a 7-point game. An NBA record 7 consecutive 20-point, 10-assist games to start a season for Chris Paul, 30 and 13. And Phil Jackson says, "Yo, Kobe!" Hey, right there. Kobe only had 7 at the half. He reminds James Posey, I'm one of those single-name players. Kobe. Nobody says James.
That's your NBA defensive specialist against Kobe from last year's finals.
Kobe gets it done. The Lakers get it done. 93-86. Coach Jackson, you're the lone unbeaten.
Well, if at the end of the season it's like this, then it would mean a lot, wouldn't it? But no, I mean, there's been a lot of teams that have gotten off to good starts, and it doesn't mean you're going to have a good finish. But this is what we want to do, and we're doing the right thing. With just one game at a time is all it takes.
I think we need to get 10 up, and then from there we try to press it up to 20 up. So basically, you know, I just want to continue the win streak. I just want to keep playing defense because I think that's what's going to do it for us.
Coach has got a new look.
Yeah, he does.
He's
growing it out.
Yeah, I don't know if I can.
You're not working. Not working for you?
No. Third time in his 18 years as an NBA head coach, like he cares that that Coach Jackson started well. And if the past tells us anything, it should be a good year for the Lakers. Previous 2 teams that started 7-0 under Phil Jackson went on to win the NBA title. Avery Johnson on line 7.
I really love what the Lakers are doing right now. First of all, they're winning games with their defense. To go into New Orleans tonight and hold the Hornets to 86 points, that's a pretty huge defensive effort, especially in a back-to-back situation on the road. Kobe Bryant is continuing to be the MVP that he is, but also he's getting plenty of help from the rest of his teammates. Derek Fisher had a hot shooting first quarter. Trevor Ariza provided double figures off the bench. The Lakers are a team to beat and a team to reckon with in the Western Conference.
Top pick of last year's draft boasts an NBA career that's lasted all of 13 minutes. Hear what John Barry thought of Greg Oden from his courtside seat.
Every year at the Little League World Series, blasts from the past have their names brought up. Chris Drury, Sean Burroughs, Lloyd McClendon, Charlie Hayes, all went on to have success at the highest levels of their respective sports. Rarely, if ever mentioned, is a pitcher from the 1994 Northridge, California team that reached the finals. His name, Matt Cassel, now a starting quarterback for the Patriots. Those that worried about his ability to perform on the big stage, he's been doing it since he was 12. Wendy Nix on his next trick.
It's been 9 weeks since Matt Cassel made his first start of the year, his first start since high school for that matter, against the New York Jets. On Thursday, for the first time this season, Cassel will face the team for a second time, and does so, he says, with less apprehension and added confidence.
I feel like I'm a different player from what I was then, but not an overall reconstruction of who I was, you know, just you continue to grow and become more comfortable.
Matt was in a great program at USC, played behind two great quarterbacks, you know, Leinart and Palmer, and they ran a pro offense. I mean, that's, you know, that's as much of a pro offense as anybody in the NFL.
Cassel has also had 4 years to learn from a pretty good quarterback in New England and has admitted turning to Tom Brady since stepping in as his replacement. Though Brady has yet to attend team meetings, he is back in Foxborough and once again a fixture in the Patriots locker room.
It's great to have him back around the locker room. He's obviously a great leader and always there for support for myself and the other teammates as well. So he's a guy that we love having around, and the more he's around, the better.
Wes Welker continues to be the target of choice for Cassel. Welker is on pace to top his 112 catches from last season. When asked why, Cassel joked he gets open. Running back Sammy Morris and Lamont Jordan are not expected back Thursday night, which again spells opportunity for undrafted free agent Benjarvis Green-Ellis, who has rushed for a touchdown in 4 straight games. And when asked about the possibility of facing former teammate Ty Law, Jarvis Green said he's been out a while. He could be 215 pounds, could be 245. We'll have to wait and see. In Foxborough, Wendy Nix, ESPN.
Still ahead, first place in the AFC is on the line tomorrow night, and the countdown crew. That means Boomer will be here. Hear why they say the best running game will win this one.
I got more football for you, Carl. He's not 100%, but that has stopped Tony Romo from getting ready for the Redskins and delivering a warning. Charlie Weiss's job safe for now. Find out why the Notre Dame AD is sticking with Charlie despite the recent struggles of the Irish.
Remember when Christmas trees weren't found in basements? You could smell a real tree. You could get your picture in front of it, and it looked different each year. And this year, you can take a picture in front of a real tree in Santa's Wonderland at Bass Pro Shops. With the free arcades, remote-control trucks, the model trains, even a free picture with Santa. Time passes. Hold on to Christmas.
Duralast Proving Grounds have come to this maternity ward to test the new Duralast Gold C-Max ceramic brakes, built with a revolutionary shim technology that deadens vibration for superior ultra-quiet stopping performance. To prove this, we've enlisted the help of several very light sleepers. There you have it, new super quiet C-Max brakes from Duralast. Duralast, proven tough.
His was the oldest registered distillery in the United States, from a place where the water was cool, clean, and iron-free. Perfect for making whiskey. Charcoal mellowed drop by drop for smooth sipping, the Tennessee way, which is not the easy way, but it was his way.
Monday, the day you're once again reminded the customer is always right.
I didn't use it.
Despite all evidence to the contrary.
Excuse me, where's aisle 8?
It means another 5 days of Murphy being right about things going wrong. But with Monday comes Monday Night Football on ESPN, where Brady Quinn and the Browns take on Trent Edwards and the Bills. So suck it up, sonny boy. On Monday nights, you're the only customer we care about.
Sports Center, brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
Let's go back to Miami for the return of Greg Oden, and some would say the return of Dwayne Wade. If you haven't seen him this season, he's back. Oden back after dropping out after the first game of the season with a foot injury. Let's go back on Oden's injuries, Carl. In 06 June, of course, he had surgery on the right wrist. And then in 07, he had a tonsillectomy. My throat's kind of sore right now. September 07, he had microfracture knee surgery. And then in training camp, he sprained his ankle. And then his NBA debut, he sprained his foot in L.A. against the Lakers, missed 6 games. They were 4-2 without him. He came into the game with a 2+ left in the first quarter. And Chris Quinn, he said, talk to the hand. And now we're in the final minute of the first quarter. We still haven't seen any points from Oden in the NBA yet, but we've got a mark there, and he gets the position on Joel Anthony, and then he says, how's it? The first basket for Oden as an NBAer, his first point since the 07 National Championship game 590 days ago. Third quarter, told you Wade's back. 36 in this game, 4th straight game with 30 or more, and this game is tied. Portland had pretty much been in control. Heat down 1. Quinn, the bucket, and he's fouled, and so the Heat take a 2-point lead into the 4th quarter behind that Miami home crowd, which there were a lot of empty seats. Rudy Fernandez, watch this guy, hit a career-high 25. LaMarcus Aldridge there, he had 14. The Blazers win 104-96. They outscore Miami by 10 in the 4th quarter. Brandon Roy with 22 in the victory.
Let's talk about the big fella tonight. Played 16 minutes, 3 points, a couple of rebounds, a block shot. What kind of conversations did you have with him during the course of the game, and how would you evaluate his night?
I just try to keep telling him having fun. You know, Greg, just go out there, have fun, rebound, and don't worry about the pressure. The biggest thing is he has to play right now, and I think that's what Coach told him. And I think he may be disappointed. He wants to do more, but this is his first game in a while, and we're just excited to have him back on the floor and smiling and having fun again.
See, I asked Carl for any advice as we came to the set today, and Carl said, have fun. Just,
get out there and enjoy it, blow your nose when you have to, and play for it.
Exactly. Oden scored 3 points. That pushes his career total to 3. 16 minutes. This is tied for the second fewest ever by a #1 overall pick in his first 2 career games. And you don't have to remind Blazer fans who LaRue Martin was. No reminder who this guy is. John Barry, he was courtside.
Well, it's certainly too quick to judge Greg Oden. It's going to take a lot of time. Now, remember, this guy's been out for a year. He came back for 1 game, missed 2 weeks. His timing is off. He looks very discombobulated on the offensive end, but I did see some great signs defensively. 2 huge blocks, a couple nice rebounds in traffic. He turned the ball over twice, but what Portland needs to be a playoff team is Greg Oden and his defensive presence. I think in due time, he will be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, Jazz, they hope that Oden doesn't become a force. They've been very, very good. They're the only other unbeaten. The Lakers now standing. Will the Jazz join them? Winless team, the Wizards. Caron Butler's wearing the bifocals because he got banged on the head on Saturday in Orlando, and it wasn't working. He was having a hard time seeing where the ball was going, when he was shooting it, if it was going in the net. And the sunglasses on the top of the head works for the baseball players in the summer. Caron finally figured it out. He had 9 points in the first half. He's just going to throw those things away. Play through it, just like Everett out here. 74-72, Korver to Kirilenko. The only shot he made was that one. That means he missed his 6 other attempts. The Jazz are up 4. Twan and Butler took this game over. Butler finds Jamison, who went for 21 points and 8 rebounds. The Wiz are up 84-81. Everyone on the bench was standing every time they scored a basket. Look at them in the upper left-hand corner. This is not a playoff game. It's just their first win as Butler daggers them with 27 and 9, and they win at 95-87.
The Cowboys couldn't run on the Redskins in Week 4, just 44 yards, and they couldn't stop Clinton Portis. 121 yards. End result, Washington handed Dallas its first loss. Portis may be out for the second Skins boys go around this Sunday. League's second leading rusher with a bum knee. He's already been ruled out for Thursday's practice. And then there's the Cowboy who's back in the saddle. Ed Werder has more.
Returning to a Cowboys team that appears more broken than the quarterback's pinky finger, Tony Romo not only inherits an enormous challenge, but embraces it. Following a 3-game absence, Romo must quickly reverse the Cowboys' downward spiral.
If I can do some of the things that I hope I can do, I feel very confident in our team going up there and playing really good football and maybe changing the perception around here.
We had, a couple of practices, and I think he's trying to get a feel for what he can do and what he can't do, and we're going to assess those practices. The coaches will, just like any other practice. I don't think they're going to hold him back by any means.
We're going to come out to attack the Washington Redskins. I think this team's got a great second half run in it, and hopefully we'll be able to show that starting this week.
The Cowboys averaged twice as many points with Romo as without him. They lost 2 of the 3 games Romo was sidelined and were playing below expectations before his injury. But Romo's bold creativity and willingness to throw down the field make them a totally different offensive team.
It's exciting in a way, to have a goal that no one really sees, but maybe yourself and your teammates. I think that's something that can bring a team together.
Romo claimed he can make every throw and says he can withstand being hit, but acknowledged he has a small amount of pain when taking snaps directly from center. He expects to play against the Redskins wearing a small splint on his right hand that he and the training staff will develop and refine throughout the week. With the Cowboys, I'm Ed Werder, ESPN.
Let's break the season down into thirds. You can see the Cowboys' decline actually began before the Romo injury. In weeks 4 through 6 with Romo, 1 and 2, scored 6 points per game fewer than they did during that 3-0 start, 1 and 2 without Romo.
It's becoming the in thing to hop on the dump Charlie Weiss bandwagon. Historically, a vote of confidence from your supervisor is about as reassuring as an economic bailout plan's been lately, but that's what Weiss got today from the school's AD. Using last year's 3-9 nightmare as the bar, Jack Swarbrick said we're a lot better than that. He cited the good relationship Weiss enjoys with his players, his ability to recruit, not to mention the fact he really seems to like them. Swarbrick did say that every Notre Dame coach is evaluated at the end of the season.
Thursday night, the Jets and Patriots meet with first place on the line here, while Keyshawn Johnson says the pressure's on Brett Favre, not Matt Castle. Romeo Crennel said he was embarrassed about talk quitting among his Browns team, and he told them so. Hear the message Crennel sent to his players. And the Magic looking to keep pace with the Hawks. Dwight Howard may be just the man to carry them. Would he notch a triple-double?
Eastern Conference Final, Chicago, Columbus, Thursday at 7:30 on ESPN2.
It's the season for giving, so why not give the very best? Like the exhilarating Infiniti G sedan, or the bold Infiniti FX. They're gifts you can enjoy every day of the year. Visit the Infiniti Limited Engagement Winter Event now to take advantage of our best offers of the year. Lease a G sedan for $349 per month or get 0% APR financing.
We traveled around the country to show people the many features of Windows Vista, like how to protect their children online and monitor how long they use the computer.
You could actually program it and limit the time.
I can find out everything she's doing.
You could put it longer, you could choose which days.
Because I find them up at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes, still searching the web.
They're nosy.
It's like another set of eyes for parents.
At 13, you decided to be a rock star. At 16, you decided to be a quarterback. At 25, you married the girl of your dreams. So when did you decide to